one thing that's really been pissing me off lately that I just cannot figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you use your iPhone for anything,
Mm-hmm.
it's automatically like, you want to listen to that at 10, right? As loud as the phone goes, right?
Yeah. I know what
It
you're
always
talking
just starts there.
about. I don't know why.
Can you imagine how insane that logic would be if you applied it to any other product that you have? Like
you turn on your car and it goes 60.
fifth gear, right? You want to start high, right?
Right.
You know, or it's like you turn on the shower and it's like scalding water is what you want for sure.
And you want it to blast you hard, right?
Time to bake some cookies. You want this on clean, right? You want to obliterate anything you put in it? Why the fuck?
I like to broil my cookies. I want them to be undone and burnt on top.
Exactly. But for some reason, they decided this is the programming that should be on the iPhone.
Yeah.
It should start at the max.
I have noticed a marked decline in quality of everything.
Just everything in general.
All technology. They have started making things intentionally bad. It seems like
for sure,
so that they can then be like, oh, we've updated it. Now it's better.
Yeah, and you have to pay for it again.
Yeah, it is better now.
Well, it's because it sucked
It's
the first time.
It sucked the first time and it didn't have to.
How worthless is autocorrect getting? Autocorrect is the bane of my existence now.
It really is. Anytime I start, I guess this is a strange complaint, but sometimes I throw Spanish in when I'm texting, so I'll be like, la, whatever.
Yeah.
If you put in la, it immediately makes it both capitalized for L.A. And you have to make it not do that. Why do I have to tell it to not do the thing I didn't want it to do in the first place?
Dude, 2-letter abbreviations computers have a hard time with. I was getting GPS directions with Apple Maps the other day to UT Hospital.
Yeah.
And it was like, turn left onto Utah Hospital Drive.
Yes. Yeah,
I have a hard time with that.
Because Emily works at UT Hospital. She said that.
Utah.
Utah Hospital because it's UT capitalized. Yeah.
Welcome, dead and lovely listeners and technology complaint fans, to the greatest horror movie review podcast. That's relevant. In the known multiverse and beyond.
It really
Why
is.
it is dead and lovely. Here with the host with the most, it's me, your best buddy, Uncle Ben.
Hey, it's me, your other best buddy, Hollywood Steve.
And we're here today to tell you guys what we've been up to, what we've been watching, and also to talk real deep-like about the Army of Darkness.
Hey, since we're your best friends, we found a dead body in the woods. You want to go see it?
Do you want to go look at it?
Hey,
Maybe you want to go see it?
You guys want to go catch something on fire?
Yeah. How you been doing this week, Steve?
I've been good. I've been really good. I've been having a good week. I just started. I had a little bit of a rut in the gym, so I just started doing some new exercises and really going for the more complicated lifts.
Did you exchange your large triangular weights and medicine ball for proper bars with plates on the ends and stuff? Are you upping the technology?
I stopped saying hup whenever I lift.
Why? That's the best part.
I don't know. I just thought,
could you imagine?
Try something new.
You walk into a 1920s gym and it is a deafening chorus.
Hop,
hop, hop, hop, hop, hop, hop, hop, hop, hop, hop. It's just
and
a
the
cacophony.
mustaches just everywhere. Yeah.
So you've been changing up your lift
pattern.
pattern, huh?
Well, because when I first started the gym, the idea was, well, look, fatty, you got to do something.
Look out, do something.
Yeah. And then after a while, it was, okay, I'm getting in shape, but I need to avoid injury at all costs, because it would be
dude.
Once I hit 260, it's like, okay, I'm starting to see results. I really want to get where I'm going. I need to go careful.
Dude, I'm telling you what, don't be that fucking guy that every time you hang out with them, all they do is complain about their list of injuries they fucking receive from the gym.
Yeah, because
that guy sucks.
Yeah, because why are you injuring yourself? You're doing this to be healthy, right? So
that would be the point. Yes.
So I was being real safe, real careful, only using machines a lot.
Only jumps from the first turnbuckle.
Right? Yeah, I don't want to get up on that third. What am I, Sabu?
That's a low-risk maneuver. Said nobody ever.
So I was trying to be real safe. I don't work out with anybody else, so I never bench by myself. I use there's the Smith machine, which is an assisted machine.
I'd call it the bench buddy.
Right.
Thanks.
The bench buddy. So I'll use the bench buddy, or do it with just there's a chest press machine.
Yeah.
But I really decided, fuck it. I want to like enjoy myself, have fun. I don't want to be bored. So I started doing the clean and press, which is like the thing you see in cartoons when they want to show somebody strong.
Oh,
is picking
okay.
something up off the ground and then putting it over your head.
Towards the ceiling.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how you prove your strength.
Yeah.
See how much closer this is to the ceiling now?
Mm-hmm. It's up there.
I did that.
Yeah. But it's a complicated move. It's technically 3 lifts.
Okay.
And you could easily injure yourself if you don't know what you're doing. And you should always, like, every time I do it, I start with an empty bar. Like, I gotta just test the motion, make sure I remembered how to do it, because once you put weight on it, you could really hurt yourself. So I'm doing it, and I notice out of the corner of my eye, here are these 2 people laughing at me.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna laugh at you! And this surprisingly had happened the day or 2 days before when I was doing chest exercises. I was like, okay, I'm gonna work the bench, but I'm just gonna work below my weight, so I know I'm not gonna end up like struggling.
Hurting yourself, yeah.
Right. So I'm working below my weight, and I was really working on my form, so it's like real controlled motion, slow down, slow up. And I see out of the corner of my eye, the person that was on the bench before was with his girlfriend, and he was lifting probably 30 more pounds than me. I could see out of the corner of my eye, like, his girlfriend being like, you're stronger than him or whatever. And I realized, like, I've never seen the people who are making fun of me in either of these cases at the gym before.
Okay.
These are New Year's resolution people. People who said, like, I'm going to get in the gym. I'm going to hit the gym at the beginning of the year. Okay, so there are probably some people listening right now who are New Year's resolution people themselves, who are in the gym and feel very much like people are watching them and making fun of them.
Yeah, I would be very self-conscious.
Yes.
I mean, I'm fixing to join the gym around the corner. Not really as a New Year's resolution, but just because now I finally have time to.
And they got those triangular weights you love so much.
Pop. And I know I'm going to go in there and be like, I don't know what that machine does, so I'm just not going to use it.
Right.
You know?
Okay, so there seem to be 2 types of New Year's resolutioners. They're the type who go in and realize, like, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but, like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gold star for effort.
And what those people tend to do is not make fun of anyone else. They're not looking around. They're hoping no one's making fun of them. That's it. The other people are the people who are a little bit in shape, but, like, aren't really in shape. Like, they're strong enough, or they're like not bad off, because probably they're 20 and
they've got leftover high school soccer muscle.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Those people come in and they feel the same way, but their response to it is to make fun of other people.
Well, fuck them then.
Yeah, so that, like, it's interesting to me though, because, like, as I'm doing this and knowing what I'm doing and seeing out of the corner of my eye these people making fun of me, I'm realizing, like, that's so much insecurity in that.
Oh yeah,
like,
and that sucks for the people like really want to get in shape. Dude, like, I've seen people post up pictures of, like, look at this fat fuck on a treadmill at the gym, and it's like
he's on a treadmill.
He's trying to improve himself.
Yes. Well, you know where he's gonna go if he doesn't get on that treadmill? Fatter.
Yeah.
If he's on the treadmill, probably gonna slim down.
Yeah,
asshole.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, but that's my experience in the gym, and I've been going to the gym since I was 14. Like, started lifting weights at the recreation center in Jefferson City.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Started lifting weights when I was 14. And my experience is the people that go to the gym and lift weights and, like, are there regularly I've never seen them make fun of anybody. Like, the big dude you see and lift the big weights, never seen them make fun of anybody.
Oh, this is just like people talking shit on YouTube and stuff like that. It's like anytime somebody talks some mad smack on one of my videos, it's like I go to their page and guess what they're doing?
Nothing.
Not making music or videos. Like, nothing.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you'll never see, like, Steve Vai talk shit on somebody's video.
It's so much insecurity. It's people who haven't put in any effort, and they see other people put in an effort, and they think, boy, I don't have the bravery to do that. I should probably make fun of it so it lessens their accomplishment.
There you go. Yeah.
So if you're one of those people who resolved to get into the gym this year and you feel like people are making fun of you, 1, maybe they are. 2, fuck them. Who gives a shit? They're probably not gonna be there the next time you go to the gym. They don't have the resolve. They're not gonna keep coming back. So fuck them.
Fuck them, man. Do you have any like New Year's resolutions yourself?
I
meant
did.
to ask you that,
I
last week.
I think I said a couple weeks ago. I want to read more.
Read more books. That's right. Yeah.
I do want to read more. I really do want to get all like down to 190.
Nice.
So I've been pushing it, but
whenever you got like crazy skinny in college, what did you weigh then?
I was like 165.
I thought you looked sick.
Yeah, I did. I look back to those pictures and it's like, oh, just I like. I mean, some of that was like that was I had started dieting and then got hobo sliced, and then also my fiance broke up with me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So some
Almost
of
got
that was
murdered
just
by a bomb.
like, I don't feel like eating.
Not the healthiest way to lose weight.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't very healthy. 190 is about what I was before I lost all that weight. So yeah, just a average looking dude.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm going for.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah, it's just the last 30 pounds has been sticky.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know what I weigh now. I that was also part of my New Year's resolution, was not weigh myself throughout the entire month of January because I had become obsessed with it. I hit 220.
Oh, I get obsessed with those numbers too. I understand that, man.
Yeah, I hit 220 in October, and I was still 220 at the end of December, and nothing has changed. My diet's the same. Still eating 1,500 calories. Still eating like 40 grams of carbs a day, like real low stuff. And nothing was changing. And so, like, you know, instead of just getting disheartened, it was like, well, don't look at it. Like,
okay.
Like,
do you feel good?
Yeah,
That's
I feel good.
Thing, right?
I'm obviously, like, every time I'm lifting more weight, so I'm gaining in strength. Like, what does it matter?
Also gaining muscle, which is more weight.
So maybe that is what's going. Like, yeah, it could be I'm at a point where I am losing fat, but I'm also gaining muscle, and it's going
zero-sum equation.
Yeah, it's going so slow at this point that no change is really happening. So it's not a big deal. It's just one of those things where it's like, if I don't look at the number, if I come back in February, look at the number and it's still 220, that's fine. I'm going to the doctor in February and I can talk to her and be like, okay, so what's going on? Like, what the hell? Make me not fat.
Unfat me. Unfat my heart.
See you not be fat again.
I don't know that I have any like resolutions per se. I'm just kind of like looking at the year and I'm like, I should be no more resolved because this is January now. You know, that shouldn't that shouldn't make me more convicted
that
to
is
something.
True.
You
that
know?
is true.
But I am kind of looking at it like, you know what? Now this year, I'm looking at how my life has changed since last year. I'm not teaching fucking 60 or 70 lessons a week right now. I'm a lot more comfortable than I was. I'm like, I have no excuse to not have an EP or an album by the end of this year. You know, stuff like that.
You were talking about that last year. Like,
exactly.
That's what you wanted to do.
I wanted to be able to go to the NAMM show this
Yeah.
year with an EP under my belt, and last year it just ended up way too fucking hectic.
Now you're just going to have to talk about your podcast the whole time. I'm just
going to talk about my cast the whole time, I guess. Yeah, leaving for the NAMM show a week from yesterday, I guess.
Yeah, when this comes out, you will have left the day before.
In Los Angeles, soaking up the sun,
Yeah.
Sheryl Crow style. You know what I mean? All I want to do is have some fun, soak up the sun.
I get it. Maybe date Lance Armstrong for a while.
So it's got to be a great time. But yeah, I definitely wanted to have myself an original EP done by this time of year. But you know what? It's okay. Honestly, there's no possible way I could have done that last year. Last year's schedule was in fucking
Anybody
insane.
who listens to this podcast will know you were constantly dealing with shit. Yeah.
Insane. So yeah, this year I should be able to get that accomplished. So I'm going to do that. Like I said, joining the gym around the corner from here too. Not so much because it's January, but just because, again, I have time to now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to doing that
nearby.
too.
I mean, what was the nearest gym in Dandridge?
The community center.
In Jefferson City?
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes away.
Holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was no like gym anywhere near me back then.
Yeah. So yeah, having it nearby is real helpful. I mean, mine is just 2 miles away. It's extremely helpful to be that close. Yeah.
And I'm also resolving to watch more good movies this year.
Man, I need to do that too. I hardly watched any movies in 2019.
I hardly watched any new movies at all in 2019. We talked last time.
I did watch older movies, but new movies I didn't really. I mean, and the thing is, like,
much, no.
We did maybe 5 minisodes, so we definitely watched.
We saw some,
5 movies, but like we missed all the big ones. I feel like The Lighthouse,
so much good stuff,
Crawl, like every horror podcast it seemed like was talking positively about that. I I haven't seen it still.
Yeah. This year I think I'll definitely make more time to do that. I did start off this week and watch a couple that were pretty good.
I did too.
Yeah.
That's why I watched the movie I did watch this week.
What'd you watch?
Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu. Now that sounds like a scary movie.
It was. Mewtwo was a little bit scary, turns out.
Ooh.
Well, I won't spoil it.
No
I won't
spoilers.
spoil it.
Okay, all right, all right.
Dude is cute as shit.
Do I need
Ryan
to know
Reynolds
about,
is adorable.
Do I need to know about a Pokemon before I see it? Because I don't know nothing about a Pokemon.
I don't really either. I played Pokemon Go, and I don't think there was any sort of like story to that. It was just catching Pokemon. So I recognize a lot of Pokemon, but I don't know anything about it. I think they played it well. They did a good job of basically telling a simple story that you can understand whether you know Pokemon or not.
And it's Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. He's hilarious, of course. It's just so adorable. He's Pikachu. Pikachu's already cute. The other main, I guess, Pokemon would be Psyduck, who is also fucking adorable.
Okay.
And like, there's a moment near the end where Pokemon and Psyduck hug, and I seriously was like, this is probably the cutest shit I've seen in a long time.
Oh my god.
So cute. The movie isn't amazing. Like, there's no, like, it's not revolutionary.
Yeah,
if you've seen any movie with a detective story, it's pretty much that. Detective doesn't remember stuff. Turns out detective doesn't remember stuff because if the detective remembered stuff, there wouldn't be a story.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd cut it short.
But it was just so cute. Like and that was like kind of the thing is I want to get into those 2019 movies, but I wanted to like stick my toe in. I didn't want to jump into The Lighthouse.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, this will be cute. This will be fun. And if I don't like it, I can just turn it off, and nobody will care that I said Detective Pikachu wasn't good enough to watch all the way through.
Have you seen that trailer for that Ryan Reynolds movie coming out where he plays like an NPC in a video game?
Yes.
Dude, we were watching the trailer for that, and I was like, oh my god, they made an NPC movie.
Yes.
I love NPCs.
Me too.
NPCs are always like adorable.
Yes, they are.
Nothing ever happens in this village.
Yeah, if you're a non-gamer, NPC is a non-player character. Usually, when you're talking about NPCs, it's in like open world games and stuff.
RPGs
but like
and stuff.
any non-player character in any game is an NPC.
And he finds out that he is an NPC in a video game.
That's awesome.
And that's why it's like he works in a bank that's always getting like shot up and robbed by supervillains and stuff all the time. It looks ridiculous.
That's awesome.
I'll totally watch that, man.
Because that is a thought I've had a million times in playing Grand Theft Auto. Like, what would it be like to live in this world?
Right, seriously. It's gotta be fucking awful.
And I really hope he reacts the way NPCs react, where it's like, what the fuck's going on? Go about my day.
Back to normal. Yeah, it's just another Tuesday. That seems to be how they're playing it.
Awesome.
Right on, man. Anything else good you seen?
Oh, yeah. I started a show called The Other Two. Emily and I started this show called The Other Two, which is on Comedy Central and stars Drew Tarver, who I've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
I think is a very funny comedian. He's, improviser. He's not a comedian. Oh, what is a comedian? He's not a stand-up comedian, but he makes funny words with his mouth and face. Anyway, it's about... the other two in a family where this kid becomes like a viral star, and he has these two older siblings who are struggling in life. Like, one's trying to be an actor, the other has no idea what she's doing with her life, and they're both like in their mid to late 20s, early 30s, and they just kind of feel like fuck ups. And then suddenly their 14-year-old brother has this like viral hit and becomes this big like Justin Bieber type of star. And they get kind of sucked up into his world, and it's real funny.
That sounds pretty cool.
And it's actually, I think, is supposed to kind of be based off Drew Tarver's actual life, because his sister is a singer, and she was American Idol did like a kids version for a while, or like a teen version, and she was on that. So like he's actually had to deal with this himself. So it's interesting. It's a real fun, like, but also like Molly Shannon plays the mom, so like it's like this chaotic family, but they all do love each other, which I always like Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's fun to see like Arrested Development, where it's like, you know, they love each other deep down, but like most of the time they hate each other. That's fun, but I really do like when you see families that are like, oh yeah, life is hell, but we like each other.
Yeah, we stick up for each
Yeah.
other, for sure, man,
Yeah.
for sure. Now, I think that you guys on the streaming chat got
Oh,
into
God.
something real good. We
Yeah.
mentioned this last week that
Yeah,
you guys should
yeah,
do it,
you
and I guess
recommended
y'all
it, and
really,
I went that
really did
night because we recorded Friday.
Yeah.
and I went that night, and I was like, Ben says we have to watch Peanut Butter Solution, so
you
Peanut Butter
watched
Solution,
the Peanut
right?
Butter Solution. Steve, how much sense
None.
did that movie
Zero
make?
sense. It makes zero sense.
What kind of fucking crackhead
I have
made
no
this
idea.
movie?
I have no idea what's going on. Celine Dion did the music.
Celine Dion on the soundtrack doing her first English language song.
Right.
She was like 17 or 18.
Mhm.
We got to the end of the movie and I was like, is that goddamn Celine Dion?
And it's an okay. So the title makes you think that the peanut butter solution is going to be central to the entire movie.
No.
But in
no.
fact, it's just something that happens about a third of the way through the movie, that he's making something from a spell he got from ghosts.
Hobo ghosts.
Hobo ghosts.
Wino ghosts.
He's making like a potion from something they told him. But,
regrow his hair because he got the harem scarum.
but then he says it's too thin, and his solution to that is to add peanut butter.
I added too much peanut butter.
Right.
Peanut butter should be a thickening agent.
Now, the movie is not about that.
Nope.
Nope. it's about I think it's about ripping off Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, right? Like a creepy guy starts collecting kids. But
I
also,
guess that is an element, yeah.
But also at one point, a kid, this peanut butter stuff makes your hair grow, and a kid puts it on his dick.
Yeah. How
And
about that?
This is not like a teen kids movie.
No.
This was supposed to be a kids movie.
He's like, let me have some so I can put it, down there.
So then he's walking around with pubes hanging out of his fucking...
Like hanging out of the bottom of his trousers.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Now
when you
that's
see that on the screen?
hilarious, but that wasn't intentionally
Completely
hilarious.
off color.
Yeah.
Completely. Dude.
Like the movie itself was unintentionally hilarious because it was just like, what the fuck is...
Why were they feeding him yogurt?
Who knows?
He was on the special yogurt diet.
Oh, what was happening in that movie?
I have no idea.
Everybody hated it. So,
Yeah?
yep, everybody officially hated it. It was real clear in the chat. Everybody was like, what the fuck is it?
It is seriously the most surreal movie
Yeah.
I've about ever seen.
It's a weirdo.
It will
Yeah.
make you feel like you are on drugs.
I
watching it.
know Brandon Wood had been recommending it for a while. And, like, it's one that I know a ton of people saw as a kid and it fucked them up. I
Yeah.
didn't see as a kid.
It would have
Seeing
fucked me up if I saw it
as a kid. Yeah, oh, definitely.
Well, it's funny
Definitely.
too. Like, if you want to have some fun with this, go on IMDb and read some of the user reviews because there's so many people on there that are reviewing it, even though they haven't seen it in 20 years.
Oh, God.
So most of the reviews are people going, "Oh my God, I can't believe I finally found this. I thought it was like a fever dream I had when I was a kid." And
I love those movies.
oh, dude, they're the best.
I love anything that you like start talking about you saw as a kid and everybody's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then you find out it's real.
Because
It's
that's
like,
the thing is,
yes!
like, if you're telling people, like, I think I saw this thing when I was a kid about this, like, evil teacher at a school that was turning this kid's hair into magic paintbrushes. It's just like, no, dude, you were very ill. You're recounting what you were thinking about when your brain was boiling.
Because what adult would come up with that?
I don't know. I don't
No
know,
idea.
man. But most of the reviews are people being like, I remember a scene where his hair was so long it stretched across a soccer field, and there was a kid that got mauled by dogs. Like, stuff that didn't happen in the movie, but people clearly remember happening. I love reading the reviews for it. It's great.
I did not understand why they never thought to just cut their hair. Like, maybe you have to do a haircut a day, but it'll be normal length at the end of the day. It's not gonna be a big deal. Like, just shave your head in the morning. By the time you get to school, you'll have hair. By the time you get home, you'll have long hair. Shave it the next morning, you're fine. Like, what was the fucking... Like, why were there
I don't know.
There was no logic to the movie.
It made
the
no
peanut
sense.
butter solution.
It made no fucking sense, dude. I'm so glad that others have been inflicted with this movie because it's one of those ones that after I saw, I was like, other people need to share my pain. You know? Other people need to be through what I have been through watching this fucking movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad you were stupefied, because if you came back and you were like, I don't know what you meant, it made complete sense.
That would have been crazy.
I would start going like, which one of us is the lunatic?
It would be me, for sure, because that movie doesn't make any sense.
There's a rip of it on YouTube. I recommend everybody watch it.
Yeah, that's what we
post-haste.
watched, and it's fine quality. As good as you're going to want to see it in, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Better
it in
quality
high def.
won't
Why?
improve the movie.
Right.
It's not going to make it any better. Definitely watch that one, man. You know, while you guys were watching that, we watched one just completely on a whim that we had never heard of. It just showed up on like Hulu or something like that. And we were like, okay, let's buy it. Let's watch this thing.
Yeah.
It was a movie called The Tenant. It was by
Polanski.
Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
And it was, I believe, after... Yeah, it was after Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
And what was the one he did before that? Repulsion?
Repulsion,
Yeah.
yeah.
These three movies are kind of his, I think
Repulsion
they call it the
I've seen.
apartment trilogy.
I have not seen The Tenant.
I've never seen Repulsion. Is it any good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, The
I
Tenant...
mean, he's a talented director.
He is.
He's a child molester, but he's a talented director.
Convicted child molester. But did make a couple good flicks.
Yeah.
The Tenant, dude, you should watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is really fucking strange.
Okay.
It is really strange.
I think I've read the synopsis of it. Is this the one? Oh, wait, no. Go. You tell me about it. And
So Roman Polanski is the main character in the movie.
Okay.
And he's this guy that moves into this recently vacated apartment because this woman that was living there like threw herself out a window.
Right.
She's like on her deathbed.
Okay.
And he moves into her apartment and becomes obsessed with her and starts like wearing her clothes that she left in the apartment and like basically kind of like reliving her life that she had, like going to the same cafes she went to and ordering the same things she did. But also he's like kind of a compulsive liar, but also kind of harmless at the same time.
Right.
Dude, it is strange. And there are some shots, especially like later on in the movie, that are inexplicably fucking awesome, dude.
Okay.
And I would love to see the sets where they built it. Like, and again, this isn't spoiler or anything. I think probably because if you know anything about Rosemary's Baby or Repulsion, it's like Polanski loves putting people in apartments and making them freak out and go paranoid and stuff.
Right.
This is another one of those movies.
Yeah,
It's a guy in an apartment slowly losing his mind.
Basically, the idea of the isolation of living in a big city. You're surrounded by people, but you're alone.
Yeah. There's this one shot where like he's sick and he's got a fever and stuff, and he's kind of like tripping out and everything. And like next to his bedside, there's like a chair that has like a bottle of water on it. Mm-hmm. And he goes to like reach for the bottle of water and he can't pick it up. His hand is just like in front of it and he can't grab it. And it's because it's not a chair. It's like a Trompe l'oeil painting of a chair with a bottle on it.
Okay.
But it's in the correct perspective, so it doesn't look like a painting. It just looks like he can't grab this object that's in front of his hand. And then later on that same night, he gets up and like walks from one end of his apartment to like the window. Mm-hmm. And it's all in camera. It looks like he's shrinking as he walks to the end of the apartment. It's like they built the front side of the apartment normal size and made it expand towards the back wall. It's nuts. You'll watch it and be like, I don't know how the fuck they did that, but it's amazing. It's really slow movie, but I think you'd like it.
It's I mean, I don't know how to deal with it. Like, when it comes to things like Jeepers Creepers, it's real easy to just be like, this movie doesn't have any value because it's a child molester's reveling in getting away with it, basically. But then, like, you have Polanski, who is a child molester, who should be treated the same way as Victor Salva. But he did contribute to the art. Like, he brought a lot to the art. So it's like you can't avoid talking about him. You can always preface it with that child molester, Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
But you can't take away the accomplishments. You can't take away...
Yeah, you can't deny that the work is good.
I mean, he was a piece of shit.
Sure,
like, outside of molesting children, he treated Sharon Tate like absolute shit.
Yeah, that's right.
So fuck him. I mean, he was already an asshole before he molested kids. But that's true of a lot of artists.
It is.
They're assholes.
It doesn't make it right, but
it
it's
doesn't
like,
make it right, and it doesn't excuse it.
It also doesn't make PYT not catchy as fuck.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's one of those things I wrestle with myself.
Boy. I mean, you turn on the Ignition remix. I'm not going to fucking yell at you because R. Kelly pisses on
a piece of garbage.
Teenage girls.
Holy cow, that guy's a maniac.
Because that song's so fucking good, but it's like,
But
Fuck
don't forget
R. Kelly.
Yeah. Don't give him a free pass just because you like the song, right?
Yeah.
So we watched that movie. It was awesome. I totally recommend it. I mean, like I said, it's slow.
Yeah.
But I kind of expected that.
Yeah, I think
it.
all three of those are pretty slow, and
Totally.
they develop in a way that is like madness, basically.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
idea that madness comes on slow.
Macho madness.
Oh, yeah.
And we also last night watched Villains, which
All
is
right.
another wild card. Like I had never heard of
I
this.
have not
Kate had
heard
never
of this.
it.
You were telling me before this.
Yeah.
Villains.
It was cool, man.
It's got a Pennywise in it.
It's got Pennywise the Skarsgård in it. And it's also got what's her name?
Old girl.
Keira Sedgwick.
Oh, okay.
Keira Sedgwick is in it.
Gotcha.
And again, this totally flew under the radar. It's kind of horror, I
Yeah.
guess. It's definitely got a lot of levity to it as well. So it's like a very dark comedy more than anything.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just basically about this couple, Bill Skarsgård and something Monroe. I can't remember her first name, Marie Monroe or something like that.
All right.
And they're like amateur robbers. And they're fucking idiots.
Not professional yet.
No, I mean you watch this stuff and you're like, this is not their second rodeo.
Yeah.
This
They're
is their
no
first
wet
rodeo.
bandits.
No,
Right.
or sticky bandits or any of those.
All right.
And they just kind of fuck everything up, and they're idiots, and they end up trying to rob this one house and finding a dark secret within, and kind of get trapped in the house with the people that own the house. It's interesting, man.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of it probably deals with like attitudes of like patriarchy, because the couple that owns the house is like very 1950s Leave It to Beaver, and then this couple is obviously
Modern.
like younger and more modern. I think a lot of it has to do with patriarchy through the ages.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again. Honestly, it was very interesting. I recommend checking it out.
I read
It's like an hour and a half too. It's short.
I read the other day that in a survey recently, they had taken a survey in the 80s of how many fathers had changed a diaper, and it was something like 7%.
Yeah.
And in the
That's insane.
modern day, it's more like 75%. Like, men have changed that much in 40 years.
I'm gonna call that a good thing.
That's a very positive thing. Can you think about that? Like, just really consider that there was a period where the idea of a man changing a diaper was like, fucking, why don't you grab a rosé while you're at it? Like, what? Like, how is that
unmasculine?
Yeah, like, how's that
what are you
unmanly?
gonna do? To raise your child?
I created this child with my
This was my
sperm
idea.
and my beautiful wife's egg. This child came from us. It shit itself. Now I can let it lay there and it's shit, or change the fucking diaper of the thing I made.
It's way manlier to neglect that child.
Yeah, that's manly.
Like, is that what you're
fucking
saying?
asshole?
I'm gonna call that good change.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
gonna
good
call
change.
That good
We've had
change.
I think that, but I think it's a real positive, like look on modern masculinity. Is we still got a long ways to go, but man, shit's changed.
That's better.
Shit's
It's
done
definitely
changed,
better.
yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna raise a toast to that and get myself a drink off a Code beer.
Woo,
I got
Code
this
beer.
empty old glass in front of me right now. It looks dull.
I just had a cold beer at MOB before, because you were still teaching.
Yeah, it's still working. Yeah,
I had Highwire, which is recently
We got
added a
tap room
Knoxville
down
tap
here in
room.
Knoxville. Yeah, an Asheville brewery.
They did a collab with local brewery Crafty Bastard.
They went to Planet Kolob with Crafty
They went
Bastard,
to Planet Kolob, which is the planet closest to God, we all know.
and they make beer there.
That's true. They would have to,
Sign
right?
me up.
Yeah. So they had this collab that was, it was like a tropical milkshake-y, like it was creamy, but it doesn't have lactose in it.
Okay.
So it was like a little creamy, but real, like, I would say grapefruity / tropical fruity.
You know, I'm on board with that.
It was so good.
Sounds
Yeah.
really good,
Yeah.
man.
So what's this?
Well, this is also a collab. This is Mini Hops We Added, which describes itself as a double hopped sour IPA with Mosaic, Amarillo, Citra, Victoria's Secret, Huel Melon, and Tahiki hops. And this is a collaborative beer brewed between Pretentious Beer Works down here in Knoxville and Zool Beer Company. XUL, I think it's Zool.
Where are
Maybe
they
it's
at?
Exol. They are also in Knoxville. I don't know where.
Oh, they're new then.
Very new.
Okay.
I don't even know if they have a tap room open yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've seen them doing some collabs and stuff. So I look forward to checking this thing out. It's about 6%
Oh, that's pretty nice.
on the ABV. Pouring this out of a big old Crowler to-go can here. I think I got a little drip on the side of yours. A little drip on my notes, too.
What color is that?
Golden.
I mean, it's like a pale golden yellow.
A little
but
hazy.
also hazy. Yeah.
Interesting. Even from a
Smells
foot away,
Yeah.
it smells fantastic.
Yeah, it does.
It smells really, really good. Got a nice level of effervescence to it and stuff. I imagine I'm going to enjoy this.
Ooh.
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah.
Is that as all right with you as Jesus?
It really is. I think the sour IPA might be the way to go with the sour.
Oh, boy. That is good.
I have not had a sour IPA that tastes like bile.
No, I
Not
haven't either.
one.
Dude.
I think they kind of like mount. Ooh, kind
The
of
way that hits your palate in like two different phases is
it
really
does.
interesting.
Because I suddenly had like a cereal sort of taste to it.
You taste the grains on the back end for sure. Like up front, it's all sour and hoppy. And then as it kind of settles down, it almost has more of, like you said, a grain-like sort of flavor to it.
That's really
good.
Yeah.
I'm very okay with that, man.
I'm well into that.
Way
That's
to go,
some good
Pretentious.
stuff. Yeah.
You guys never let us down.
No, they do not.
Now, Steve, we're here today to talk about Army of Darkness, which is, of course, the third installment in the Evil Dead series. Of course, we've done Evil Dead 1 and 2 on back episodes of our award-deserving podcast. Be sure to check those out.
Yeah.
And rate and review on iTunes.
Please so.
It actually really would help us out if you drop some
That is
reviews.
true, yeah. It
you
does
know?
help.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and dump this on you here, too.
Dump 'em.
Check this out, because I want more reviews for this show.
Yeah.
You know how they tell you to do that thing when you're an online content creator where they're like, don't read the comments, don't read the reviews.
Right. That's what I do, generally.
I read them all.
Oh, you do?
I read all of my content comments. I read all of my reviews. I read everything.
The ones I have read have been generally positive.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely so. And the ones that are negative are usually for people being like, they don't like Trump. And I'm like, I don't really care about your opinion anyway. If that's what you're
Can
going to...
I interrupt just
If that's
for
the hill
a
you
sec?
want to die on, whatever.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna let you
I'm
finish.
gonna let you finish.
But I want to go back to the politics thing because I realized something yesterday that I think applies specifically because we are in the South.
Yeah.
And the rest of some of the people who are saying don't talk politics, I don't think understand what it's like living in the South. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a point there.
Yeah.
You've got a point. Well, what I want to do to try to encourage you guys to drop some reviews here for the show,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. In your review, which I will read because I read the reviews, just remember on iTunes, if you have dirty language in there, they won't post it.
Right.
So make it a G-rated review.
Mhm.
At the end
If
of
you
your
want to say
review...
great dicks, say great penises.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exceptional junk.
Mm-hmm.
And fat hogs. How about that?
Oh, yeah, fat hogs.
Fat
There you go.
hogs. If you guys will post a review on there, at the end of your review, put a question that you would like me and Steve to answer.
We'll answer it.
It can be a question about whatever. Something about like maybe, a favorite movie, a childhood movie, just whatever. Ask a question at the end of your review.
Yeah.
We'll compile some and
I like
answer them on the
this.
show sometime.
That's a good idea.
I want to stay in touch with the fans. I want to answer their questions and stuff.
Yeah.
But I also want more iTunes reviews.
That's true. We do need them. Yeah. We need because like iTunes only does in 0.5s.
Right.
Yeah. Did they ever do it in a more accurate way?
I don't think so.
It seems like the algorithm is like once you get enough reviews under 5 stars, they'll take you down to 4.5.
Right.
Like we have the majority are 5-star reviews.
Fives, yeah.
But then we have the 1 stars from the almost all of them. From the comments on the 1 stars seem to be all stop talking politics.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
There's occasionally somebody that'll be like, it takes an hour to get to the movie part. There's always fucking timestamps
Yeah, we
in
do
the
put the
description.
timestamp
There's
in the
always
description.
timestamp. If you just want to get
In
to
fact,
the movie, it's
if
there.
this is your first time listening and you've gotten 39 minutes in and been like, why aren't they talking about Army of Darkness?
It's always this way.
Check the description. It'll tell you exactly the timestamp when we start talking Army of Darkness.
Yeah. This whole podcast is just a thinly veiled cover-up for the fact that we just want to hang out.
Yeah, that really is
And drink
it.
beer.
That's it.
We had to
That's
pick a
it.
topic for something. So
yeah.
horror movies.
I mean, what were we going to do? Just 2 guys talking? That's every podcast.
That's every podcast,
Yeah.
I think.
2 white guys talking.
If that's not the name of a
Any group of
podcast
white guys
yet.
is a podcast. If you see a bunch of white guys talking loudly in a restaurant, they're probably
casting.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, definitely go on there and rate and review. And like I said, put a question at the end of your review. We'll answer it on the show. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so
back to my politics.
Back to that.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Tell me the thing.
People, perhaps, who grew up outside of the South may find some, like, value in politics not being involved in every element of your life.
Sure.
When you live in the South and you're liberal, you have
fight to survive, dude.
You have to understand that politics are involved in every moment of our lives, and this is what made me realize like why we talk politics all the time. I was driving behind a car the other day, had a scripture. It was a truck. Scripture on the back window. As I drive by it, on the side, it says, Patriot Pools. They sell pools.
Swimming pools.
The name of it is Patriot Pools.
Yeah.
Because they're political in selling pools. They're
Right.
also religious in selling pools.
It's fucking
so
everywhere.
when we talk politics and religion, when we talk horror movies, it's because we have been inundated
Yeah, we're
our
swimming in
entire
it.
fucking lives that everything is political.
That's true, though, because if you go to some other areas of the country where everything isn't.
Yes. So they get the safety and
Yeah.
security of every once in a while I can just not talk politics.
And also being like, why are they talking about this stuff all the time?
Because it's
we're swimming in it.
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
We can't get away from it. It's everything we deal with.
It's a good point.
Like, Jefferson County is patriot everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we both were born and raised Jefferson County. Everything is patriot. Jefferson County's high school mascot is the Patriots. It's all about politics. Everything is political. Everything is religious in the South. And every message you get is conservative.
I was going to say, very one-sided.
Right.
So, extremely.
So you have to fight.
Yeah.
You got to fight back.
If we come off as somewhat thorny in those regards, just consider where we are.
Yeah, consider where we are. This is our perspective because of where we live.
Yeah.
But, I
You got
mean...
a point.
I understand. If you come from a perspective where you can just escape politics, it probably does suck to have to hear it when we're talking about horror movies. Though I don't understand
how horror movies are just political.
I don't understand
real.
how you watch horror movies and don't see the politics.
No,
but that won't change. Just letting you know if you've made it to episode 144, thinking eventually they'll stop talking politics.
Probably not.
No. Just start that podcast yourself.
Start that podcast that you want to hear, man. Yeah. Don't curse the darkness, light a candle.
Like, people may think, like, I have said that to some people who've
totally
talked to us, and they may think that it's a flippant answer. It's not.
No, I'm serious.
I'm not being a dick. I'm saying, seriously, start that podcast, because if you want to hear it, other people definitely do too.
Well, you and the other 8 people that gave us a 1-star review definitely want to hear that podcast.
Yes. So,
you've got an audience.
There's an audience. What does it fucking matter? And maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll learn something and come back in like 2 years and be like, you know what? I judged you guys wrong. Maybe. I hope you don't. I hope you don't learn shit. I hope you fucking make a podcast and it takes off and you make thousands and thousands of dollars in your first fucking year.
And then in every interview you say, I started this because there's this other podcast
that
called
I
Dead
hate.
and Lovely.
Right, yeah.
Use the name.
Yeah.
Advertise for us, please.
Please make fun of us by name.
By name, please. You know? And I hope, too, whenever they do this, I hope it's like the anti-Dead and Lovely, and it's like, this is live and ugly.
Hell yeah. Do it. I don't give a shit. I would love it. You know what?
I want to inspire people
I
either
really
way.
do. I don't care. Like, I don't care if you make your Trump-loving horror podcast. Fucking do it. There are people that want to hear it.
People want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Sorry. I did let you finish.
Put that soapbox away now. Put that thing away.
I'll just put this in.
Yeah.
All right.
Get off the cross, Jesus. We need the wood.
Right.
Get this thing
Damn
over
it.
here. Damn. Okay, so we're talking Army of Darkness today, which, of course, like I said, is the 3rd installment in the Evil Dead franchise. And you know what? It's goddamn fantastic.
It is. This is your first time
This
seeing
movie
it.
is a delight.
Yes.
But it's also reminded me that, you know what? There's lots of other horror franchises out there that have had 3rd installments, some of which have been great, some of which have not been great
That is
at all.
true. Yeah, we have gone through and we've looked at the major, like, 80s
Old school,
like horror franchises, and we've ranked from 1 to 7 the best part 3s.
That's right. Now, we're not going to be getting into some newer stuff. There's some newer franchises with part 3s that you like.
Paranormal Activity 3, I think, is probably the best Paranormal Activity
You told me many
movie.
times. It's actually very good.
Yeah.
Saw 3, is that any good?
Saw 3 is bad. Final Destination 3 is great.
That's one you actually liked.
I love that one, yeah. So, like, it's interesting that, like, sometimes a series can take off because I don't know what it hits. Like, it just hits the right note, but it's not good. And then when it hits that third, like, moment, they've kind of hit their groove and they know what they're doing, and maybe they can do it a little bit better. I think that's what happened with Paranormal Activity 3 specifically. Is like they learned so much from the first 2 that they could make it work best.
Yeah. 3 can be a sweet spot for sure, because you have the first one that's just like, whatever, maybe this works, and maybe it does.
Yeah.
The second one, maybe you try something a little different, and people are like,
yeah,
we don't want Pinkerton. It's too introspective.
Yeah, so Green Album.
And then you get it all wrong. Yeah. Or sometimes you get it all right after that, you know?
Sometimes.
So before we get into talking about Army of Darkness, I say we take a second here. Let's step on into that preview palace.
Dobro pожаловать в preview palace.
Oh, thank you, comrade. Thank you, friend.
It may be na preview palace. I'm not sure how we're going to go with that. Yeah.
Okay, right on.
The na seem to be interchangeable sometimes. Go ahead.
And let's rank this thing up from the worst to the best. Whenever we're talking about these old school franchises, the classic franchises of
we're talking
horror,
like Evil Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Hellraiser, Child's Play, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Everybody's
Those are the
favorites.
big ones.
Everybody's favorites. What do you think is the worst part 3?
Hellraiser 3.
Hellraiser 3 blows.
Without a doubt.
It blows,
because, like, I'm not huge on Hellraiser 2, but the look of it is real cool.
It at least looks like it fits with part 1.
Hellraiser 3, that's really where, like, the Cenobites start to become villains.
Yeah,
whereas
exactly.
before there is just like there's no villainy, there's no heroics. It's just nihilist.
Exactly. Yeah, they totally did lose track of where everything was going with part 3, you know? Yeah, like you said, just the complete misunderstanding of the Cenobites. Also wrapping that shit up with, like, trendy modern technology, like with the guy that gets, like, he's like throws CDs or some shit.
The shining moment of Hellraiser 3, I would think, isn't that the one with Adam Scott in it? I believe that's Adam Scott's
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's Adam Scott's first role.
Wow.
So that's the shining moment of Hellraiser 3, is that Adam Scott.
It brought Adam Scott
got a career out of it. Yeah.
It's not good though. Like I said, part 1 I really love.
Yeah, part 2 is still, like, interesting visually,
it's
even though the story doesn't make a lot of sense.
For that mattress scene.
Yes.
You know, with that skinless dude just rolling around and screaming.
That is fucking brutal.
It's fucked as all hell. There's cool stuff in it, but there's really honestly nothing about 3 that's memorable other than how shitty it is.
Yeah.
So that's the bottom of my list too.
Now, Ben, I know you haven't seen this one, but you do know the general plot. Child's Play 3.
Yeah, I've not seen the third one, but I know it has something to do with, like, a military academy, and I know that most people don't like it.
Right. So the kid from the first one gets sent to a military academy, and it's just... Okay, so, like, here's the thing about Child's Play 3, is that it's actually, like, measures better than Hellraiser 3, I would say, for sure. Like, it's still watchable, and, like, some of it's still fun, but... in comparison to all the other Child's Plays, it's boring. Like, Child's Play 2 was already kind of boring because they just sort of repeated themselves a lot with what they were doing. And then Child's Play 3 is just like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Like, you're just doing the same things. It's not till later, you know, especially with Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, where it got, like, goofy and fun.
Yeah, they just started having fun with it, really. Yeah, I need to watch it. I know that we'll do it on the show at some point.
Yeah, we've already done the first 2, so we'll get to 3 eventually. Yeah.
What's next in this series?
So this one, we have done. Friday the 13th, part 3.
The 3D one. Now, I know that that's kind of a hot take because I know a lot of people legitimately love part 3.
Do.
And I understand. I mean, it's just full of those cheeky, schlocky, did you notice this was in 3D? Let me throw a yo-yo at you. Whoa!
Yeah.
I understand. And it is, you know, the first time we get masked Jason, hockey masked Jason and
that's
stuff.
Cool.
But there's
the Jason
in
it is a good, like, the guy playing Jason is
He's
good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah. But there's overall just not much point to the movie.
No,
it's seriously just like, there's some kids and Jason kills them. That's the story. I don't know. Not something that I really loved, but I know that a lot of people really did dig that one.
Yeah. And I, again, like as I said, Child's Play 3 is measures above Hellraiser. So is Friday the 13th Part 3. Like, even though I don't love it.
Oh, it's way better than Hellraiser, yeah.
It's still so much better. So, like this list,
it's better
this
than where
list
it seems
goes
on this
from
list.
kind of like shit pile to like garbage to like great movies.
Yeah.
Like real quick.
Yeah, we're not saying it's terrible.
Yeah,
but
because like I would say the one we have at 4 is a good fucking movie.
Which one we got it for?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface.
Okay, I haven't seen Leatherface either.
You need to see this one. It's got Viggo Mortensen's in it.
Oh, shit.
It has a scene with Leatherface and a seeing spell.
Okay,
Yeah.
sign me up. This
That
sounds great.
Creepy little girl, like Alfredo. God damn, that character's so fun. He'll remind you kind of Bill Moseley. Like the guy who
Chop
plays
Top?
him, yeah, he really plays it kind of chop toppy.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does it compare to like TCM2? Because that movie is
TCM2,
batshit crazy.
TCM2 is more of a joke. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 gets more back to the darkness.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
When
So-
was that made? Is that
Oh,
80s?
god damn, late 80s.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
or early 90s.
But this
Because,
is not the one with like McConaughey and stuff. That's the new breed
that's,
or whatever.
That's 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, the one with McConaughey and Renee
Renee
Zellweger.
Zellweger, yeah.
And McConaughey has like a mechanical leg that he works with a television remote.
What?
That movie's weird.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I need to sit down and watch 3 sometime.
Yeah.
You think it's better than Friday the 13th Part 3?
Yeah, oh, by far.
Okay.
So much better. Because, like, the thing is that Friday the 13th Part 3 is, like, it's better than Hellraiser 3. It doesn't lose the plot. Like, that's the thing is that Hellraiser 3 lost the plot of the first 2 movies.
Absolutely.
Child's Play is too much like the first 2 movies. Friday the 13th Part 3 loses points because it keeps trying to do that 3D shit and the story is annoying. But it's still a fun... Jason Voorhees killing kids. He's
I
wearing
love
the
seeing
hockey
that.
mask.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's still fun. So Leatherface is a fun movie. I mean, fun. A guy gets nailed to a chair. It's a good movie. I
Okay,
think. Yeah,
right on.
yeah.
Well, now we're getting up
Yeah,
into
we're getting
that
into good
top
territory.
3 here,
Uh-huh.
man. So we're getting into some legit great flicks. Now, in this top 3 here, what are you going to put as Trace?
This one's not hard. I mean, when we ranked the top 3, we did it pretty quick.
Yeah, it's pretty unanimous between the two of us
Yeah.
here. No arguments were
Halloween 3,
Season
Season of
of
the Witch. Here's why it's so good.
Tom Atkins.
Tom Atkins.
That's it.
It's silly as shit,
Yes.
but it's also like brutal
Yeah, and weird.
and weird.
So weird.
And I think what a third part has to do, like what I just said, like Child's Play 3, too much like the first 2, too boring. You're not like they
It's more
tried
of
to
the same.
They tried to change the setting to really add new elements to it, but that it didn't do much.
Still telling the same
Yeah.
story.
Hellraiser, you went outside of what you had set up in the first 2. Halloween 3, Part 2, we have said in the past, really lost like all the coolness of Michael Myers.
Yeah, it really did.
And John Carpenter's plan in the beginning was to do an anthology type of thing where it would be just a movie set at Halloween. So Part 3 picks up on his vision. It gives us something new to look at instead of what we got with Part 2, which was that terrible mask and
Shitty hospital.
Shitty hospital. Yeah. It's so different. But then it's also like, if it didn't have the title Halloween, if it was just titled Season of the Witch, it would be considered an 80s horror classic.
Oh,
Like,
I absolutely agree with that.
the
Yeah.
only disappointment people had with it is that Michael Myers isn't in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if they would have just saw it as, well, like we said in our review episode, if it was Season of the Witch from the makers of Halloween.
Yeah, people would
Sold.
have
It would've been a hit.
gone to see it, and they would have not been expecting Michael Myers, so they would have just watched the movie they were being presented, which is weird as shit.
Yeah,
and
dude.
fun.
Yeah. And just grim and morbid at the end
Yeah,
and stuff.
real grim.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's one of those movies, too, that really does have like a big resurgence now with horror fans, where people have come around and they're like, "Oh, no, part 3 is fucking awesome."
I know Darcy the Mail Girl, aka Diana Prince, on Joe Bob's show. She loves it.
Yeah.
I believe Joe Bob Briggs also has talked positively about it.
Oh yeah, our friends over on Say You Love Satan,
they love
fans.
it. Yeah. So it's one that horror fans have come around on, but at the time people would have said, "No, that was a terrible sequel." But now you look back on it, it's like, "No, that's what you needed.
Cool original movie.
That's really what your series needed, was something completely different."
Now, installment 2, number 2,
Numero
second place,
dos.
silver medal. Also kind of gave a shot in the arm to this series that a lot of people thought
really
had
did.
gone astray. We don't agree with that.
No,
we love part 2.
Yes, because part 2 was amazing. But part 3 really did establish the way the Nightmare on Elm Street series proceeded after that.
They're the Dream Warriors.
Docking.
Yeah, rocking like docking.
So, Dream Warriors. Like, Patricia
It's
Arquette,
awesome.
you bring back Heather Langenkamp. You got Welcome to Prime Time, bitch. You got
Bobby
the
UK.
puppeteering with the veins.
So
You
many
got
memorable
Roland
kills,
Kincaid.
man. The Wizard Master.
Yes.
And you got so many great, memorable moments of this. And it did set the mold for just how all of the other Nightmare on Elm Street movies were going to go, where it was all these individual kids with their individual nightmares.
That was a kind of negative. Like, part 4 works. Despite Rainey Harlan, who I've said in the past, seems like a really genuinely good guy. Don't love his movies.
No.
Rainey Harlan is the director. It's like so MTV, that part 4. Like, I really loved, he did something with what they did in this part 3 that made that part 4 still work. But then everybody after it just kept trying to clone it.
Yeah, totally.
And it just didn't work.
But on its own,
part 3 is so
fucking awesome, man. Really, really, really cool flick. That's one of those ones I think should be like a no-brainer. I know probably a lot of people are like, that should be number 1. That's the best part 3.
But you forgot about the movie we're talking about today.
I
Army
seriously
of Darkness
think
is the best.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I really, really do think it is. And I love Dream Warriors. I love Season of the Witch. But dude, I fucking loved this movie. I think it is the best part 3 of all the classics.
It's like it's so Ash. Like,
it's just a celebration of Ash.
It's a celebration of that character in a setting that makes no sense.
No sense.
0 sense whatsoever that they're suddenly in both the 14th century but also a desert.
Yeah, in England, but it's also a desert.
I know our dead lobsters like to go to their deserts regularly, but I don't think they have many of those on that island.
I don't think that they do.
I mean,
we may be wrong about that. Let us know if we are.
That's true. They might have a single desert that
I'm gonna go have a cuppa out on the dunes. With me and me mates. Said no one ever.
Said no one. Be sure to wear your SPF out there, love. It's a desert, isn't it? I'd love to hear the desert England accent. You know it would be different.
It'd be exotic.
Yeah.
It'd be very
exotic, yeah.
But dude, this movie just did so much of taking where they were going with part 2, where they're like, you know what? We can take these characters and these settings in Evil Dead 2 and make them silly and Three Stooges-y, but still brutal and gory and scary and stuff, and people would be okay with it. And they were.
Yeah.
And they're like, what if we just went even further into that territory?
Which is actually what they wanted to do with part 2, as we talked about on our Evil Dead 2 episode. Go back and listen to that episode.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. We talked about how that was what they actually wanted to do with part 2, was send him back to Arthurian times, and but they just couldn't get the budget. It was obviously going to cost a lot of money. But Evil Dead 2 did so well internationally that producer Dino De Laurentiis was like, okay, I'll give you the money.
Let's
do the medieval thing.
Which is pretty crazy too, because they kind of Babe Ruthed it with Evil Dead 2. And they're like, at the end, we'll make him fall into the portal and end up in the Middle Ages.
So if anybody wants to make a sequel, that's the sequel they have to make. Yeah.
I mean, what if this movie had never been made though?
The ending of 2 would have been the craziest fucking ending
just
ever.
Batshit fucking crazy, man. You'd be like, well, there was this movie Evil Dead, And then Evil Dead 2 was kind of a remake of it.
Yeah.
Only at the end, he ends up in the Middle Ages.
The end.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, that would have been the most random-ass ending ever.
Yeah.
But the fact is I think that they knew this will catch on.
Yeah. The ending of this one, by the way, the original ending, did you... I
read about this.
Okay, you watched the theatrical cut. I watched both the theatrical cut and the director's cut. Director's cut is about 6 minutes longer.
Okay.
There's only a little bit different.
Yeah, I was wondering what was different about it.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more of the effects and stuff, and
cool.
Not much is taken out, or not much is added back. It's just 6 minutes of shots you didn't see before. But the ending, he starts taking the drops that he's given the drops to like fall asleep and wake up into the future. And as he's taking them, he's getting more drowsy. So he gets to 5 and he's super drowsy. And he takes another one. And he says 5 again. And then he takes another one and says 6. So he took one too many drops. When he wakes up, he is in post-apocalyptic England, London, where you see Big Ben like destroyed and all this shit.
Yeah.
The fact that they edited that was genius, because the ending they came up with made it possible to make Ash versus the Evil Dead with the show.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen.
Oh, it's great.
Now I'm like dying to watch it.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. If you love Army of Darkness, you're gonna because it's goofy, silly, pure Ash. Lucy Lawless is in it. That always helps anything. If they had gone with the original ending, I don't know how they could have ever done anything with it in the future. So like, this is one of those cases where the producer coming in and saying like, no, you can't end it like that, and like fucking with the artistic vision actually was a positive.
Actually was good.
Yeah, it's actually a really good thing.
Wow.
Because it gave us a future for Evil Dead instead of just being stuck at, oh well, Ash went too far and the world's over. I mean, I guess you could make a post-apocalyptic Ash movie, but
I'd watch that.
I would too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, now I think about it, it wouldn't have mattered how they ended it unless he died. Actually, you know what? They could have killed him and then just been like, "Oh, we resurrected him," and I'd be like, "Okay,
I'm
cool.
fine with that. Let's go with it."
Because you just sent him back into time for some reason, and I was like, "Fine."
I'd love to see
great.
Ash as a caveman fighting Deadeye.
Sure,
it's like,
whatever.
give me all of it.
I don't give a shit.
It's like a Babylonian text or whatever, right?
It's awesome,
yeah,
man.
the Necronomicon.
Yeah. It's like he could go back in time, or he could be. I don't know, you could even show him in hell, like he dies and then Ash in hell.
I'm fine with that.
Fighting demons.
I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, like that is how, like, I know, like, we talked about this in Evil Dead 2, that Sam Raimi, like, really revels in the fact that he can make Bruce Campbell do anything. Like, they're childhood friends, and he loves to fuck with him. So, like, part 2, like, he's, like, hitting him in the face with branches a whole bunch.
Dragging him through the woods.
Right, yeah, just fucking with him. In this movie, he really went all out to fuck with him. Just telling him to do everything. Just like, do this, do that. Pretend your foot is nailed to the floor and you're trying to run away. Like,
and the thing about it is, though, is that Bruce completely understands that vision and nails it. He
doesn't give a shit.
He realizes he is a living cartoon character, so it will work if he does it.
He's fucking amazing in knowing that. Like, people really, I mean, when you talk about acting, most people, if they say to a person, I'm trying to become an actor, the person looks at them and thinks, is this Jennifer Aniston? Well, no. Does it have to be Jennifer Aniston? Fuck
also,
no.
There's already one.
You can be Bruce Campbell. You can be any number of people. You can be this guy who, he's got like this like dashing chin and he's a handsome dude, but like,
he's weird and goofy as shit.
He's a goofy motherfucker. There are a ton of other handsome actors out there. The reason why Bruce Campbell succeeds is because he recognizes who he is and what he looks like, and he plays it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the actors who succeed are the people who don't try to pretend they are something else. They know who they are, and they be that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing about it is, too, is that, I watched the first Evil Dead a million years ago.
Yeah.
Love it. Watched Evil Dead 2, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see why people are so obsessed with Bruce Campbell and stuff.
Yeah.
Then you watch this movie, and you're like, oh, I completely get it.
He's a fucking master.
I completely get it. He is incredible in this, dude. He's so perfectly dashing and handsome and classic Hollywood, but then also so silly, and like,
and
dude, his comedic timing and stuff is fucking perfect.
Yeah, and
Absolutely
a lot of times
awesome.
his comedic timing is with himself.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
He's playing with himself, so like he's thinking when he delivers a line, how would I deliver this line back to myself?
Yeah, to me. Because there's a lot of ashes all over this movie.
Yes, it's amazing.
So like I said, this was actually my first time watching this.
Yeah.
I thought that I had seen it before. I think it turns out that like it had just been on the TV during a Halloween party.
Right.
And also, this is one of those ones too that, you know, because this came out in what, 1992, 93?
93, yeah.
You know, by the time I would say, you know, by the time that I hit my 20s or something like that, I kind of had already absorbed every scene and moment of dialogue of this from just like cultural.
Oh yeah, it's so like it has a thread throughout pop culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd already heard "This is my boomstick."
Right.
Hail to the king.
Hail to the
Give me
king,
some
yeah.
sugar, baby.
Give me some
Like,
sugar, baby.
Yeah, it's like I felt like I had already heard every line from this movie just from pop culture. So I thought that I had seen it before, and I hadn't. And us deciding to do this movie was kind of a last-minute decision.
It was,
We were
yeah.
going to do a show with our buddy Brandon, but he ended up having to push
We're
it
going
back
to
a
be
little
doing
bit.
that in the future.
Yeah, definitely, which is going to be great.
Yeah.
But we had a last-minute change of plans. It was like, let's do Evil Dead. Honestly, I was kind of like, I'm not really in the mood to watch this.
Right.
You know, like I didn't expect to really get into this that
Right,
much.
because you're expecting Evil Dead 1 or Evil Dead 2. You're expecting that sort of thing, but this movie's a different thing entirely.
And I knew going into it
yeah.
that it was going to be medieval, Arthurian kind of times and stuff. And I was like, man, as much as I love Evil Dead 2, there's no way this is cooler than that. It's not in a cabin.
Right.
You know, it's not in that
the
classic
setting's
horror
huge
setting.
now instead of being tiny.
Yeah. And again, you know, the third spot in in movie series and stuff isn't always the best installment.
A lot of
so-
times it can be fucking terrible. Just
Yeah.
the same old, nothing new. Yeah.
So I wasn't really that amped to watch this. And I've had such a busy week and shit too. I was like, okay, let's watch this movie.
Uh-huh.
And Kate and I were sitting here watching this movie the other night. She had never seen it either,
Oh,
it
really?
turns out. And we were both just like, this movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, like we stopped at maybe
Yeah.
30 minutes in and I was like, is it just me? Or is this fucking great?
Yeah. It's so fun.
I assume this wasn't the first time you saw it.
No. I immediately, whenever you texted me and said that Brandon wouldn't be able to do it, we had basically a day and a half to prepare for that. And I immediately texted you Army of Darkness because I'd done the research already, basically, by doing Evil Dead 2 research. There was so much that I talked about in that episode that was about Army of Darkness. And I had also already put out in Evil Dead 2 my Army of Darkness theory about its connection to Lord of the Rings.
Do a quick run over that
Right.
just in case somebody hasn't heard that episode yet.
So basically, this movie incorporates a lot of elements of the Lord of the Rings books, but very specifically the Two Towers. So much so that if you watch this movie and then watch Peter Jackson's The Two Towers, Peter Jackson loves Sam Raimi and is very
Clearly,
much influenced
obviously.
by him. If you watch this and then watch The Two Towers, you will see so many shots that are almost the exact. There's a shot. The shot that actually like drew my attention to it is when the Deadites are marching on Helm's Deep, basically.
Yeah, essentially Helm's Deep, yeah.
They're marching on it. There's a shot where a skeleton goes, ha! And there's an exact shot of the Battle of Helm's Deep where in Uruk-hai they're marching in and he just goes, ah!
Really?
Yeah. Same shot, same angle, same everything. Like, Peter Jackson saw what I saw in this, was basically this is redoing the Battle of Helm's Deep, but like comedy and fun. But there was so much of it that is just, because like we'll get into some of the other literary sources, but this is one of the most well-read horror movies ever made.
Wow.
Like, this movie is so many different great novels thrown all together, but they really put in a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. There's the one particular scene that if you doubt me, just go straight to this scene and you'll immediately be like, no, you're right. It's the scene where they're all like the Deadites have marched on the castle and they're all kind of freaking out like
All
they're not
hope
going to
is
win.
lost.
And then Bruce Campbell gives his speech and then some people say, you have my allegiance, and then someone says, you have my steel
and my sword.
And my sword. And it's fucking...
It's exactly
the forming of the Fellowship. Like, it is so steeped in that Lord of the Rings, and also that Peter Jackson was so steeped in Sam Raimi films
For sure.
that he was like, well, yes, that's how we do the Battle of Helm's Deep.
And that sounds crazy when you think about those influences, but at the same time, dude, it's like if you watch Evil Dead 2 and Dead Alive back to back,
Right.
there are
So similar.
many similarities between those movies.
Peter Jackson
the style
loves
of humor and
Sam
stuff.
Raimi. Yeah, he loves that stuff. I'd love it if they did something together now
God,
that they're both
yes.
like just titans in Hollywood. They could do whatever they want. Like,
Yeah, I'd be very okay with that. Yeah, so I remember seeing so much hype about this movie whenever it was coming out. Because, again, it came out around 93. So this is when I was in, like, prime 9-year-old, like, comic book reading age.
Yeah,
and I
and there
remember
were
it's
so
like,
many ads.
so many.
Yes.
Because they knew that nerds like Evil Dead.
Yes.
So I remember, like, every comic book that I got had that full page ad in it, or it was on the back cover of the comic book, or, like, if you picked up Wizard magazine, it would just be covered in quotes. Again, I think that's where I picked up most of the quotes in this movie. It's probably old issues of Wizard.
That was one of the smartest marketing strategies, because Sam Raimi had just made a comic book movie, Darkman.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He made, because Sam Raimi wanted to make a comic book movie. He wanted to make Spider-Man, which he eventually did. But he wanted to make a comic book movie. The only comic book movies that had been out up to that point were the Batman movies. I mean, the old Superman movies, but those don't fit. The modern era of comic book movies starts with Tim Burton's Batman. That's it. Yeah. So he created his own comic book character to be able to make a comic book movie, and comic book fans liked it. They were a big fan of the fact that he was a fan of comics. So advertising your next movie then in comics,
perfect,
fucking genius.
Best billboard humanly possible.
Because these are people who are already appreciative of you bringing the comic book style to cinema. Because like that is Sam Raimi, like Tim Burton's Batman is a Tim Burton movie. Sam Raimi's Darkman is a comic book movie.
I haven't seen it. Is it good?
It is good. Yeah, I think you'd like it. I mean, it's one of those things where we've moved so far in comic book movies that it would be easy to underappreciate it. But you do have to remember that Spider-Man hadn't been made. Like, X-Men hadn't been made.
Yeah,
like,
that was the best shit ever when it came out. Yeah.
When Darkman came out, like, it's real comic booky.
Isn't he covered in, like, bandages or something?
Yeah.
And again, I remember seeing it advertised in comics.
Yeah, and it's, what's his name? I have a particular set of skills. That guy.
I don't know who that is.
Fucking shit.
Somebody in their car is like beating on their steering wheel right now.
As I am on my own head. God damn it, the Gray. Shit.
Gandalf.
No, not that one.
Other Gray.
He's another British. Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
Yes.
Woo! We made it. Okay, so it's got Liam Neeson in there.
Liam Neeson in it. Yeah. It's it's real comic booky, but like a love of comic book. Like it really, because like I'm sure Tim Burton actually did have a love of comic books, but he really has his own brand, his own style. And Sam Raimi does have this like wacky sort of style, but when you go into Darkman, it's like you're seeing the Spider-Mans that will come. Like you see this, you see a good preview of his future Spider-Man movies. Yeah,
right on, man.
Yeah.
And, of course, Sam Raimi is a noteworthy, super low budget, get the job done director. I mean, Evil Dead was made for nothing in our hometown of Morristown, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2 is made for next to nothing.
Next to nothing in North Carolina, yeah.
And I know that people always talk about, like Robert Rodriguez and stuff like that for being that shoestring budget film director.
He's the dude, but Sam Raimi was the original, the
OG, dude. Yeah. And this movie was definitely made for more of a budget than the other flicks, but not that much.
Not that much. It started at $8 million, eventually expanded to $11 million to make this. Though
that's what I'm saying, man.
Heavy on effects,
sets,
both like
costumes.
Yeah, You may think there's some CG in this. There's actually zero.
No, there's none.
It is all forward projecting or whatever. Like anytime you see a moment, like specifically when you see the castle for the first time, you see it's like on a cliff, but the cliff is very obviously projected. Like there's no actual cliff there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot in here that looks a little dated, but that actually is how it was supposed to look because they were trying to copy Ray Harryhausen.
It has a very Harryhausen feel.
Yeah, they were going for
sure.
like Jason and the Argonauts or Sinbad type of stuff. Like,
and they nailed it.
yeah.
You
So
know?
even the stuff that you see where it's like, oh, that looks a little cheap. Actually, it's supposed to look cheap. It was cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you handed me $11 million, I could not make this movie.
No way.
You know?
Not today, for sure. No.
Fuck, no. Yeah, I mean, even adjusted for inflation, whatever that number would be, this is still a pretty fucking cheap movie. Do you know if it did well at the box office? Did people like this when it came out?
Yeah, it made about $26 million. That's,
okay.
Well, yeah, it's over budget and probably well over advertising, I imagine. Because from what I remember, most of the advertising was in comic books.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
They didn't go for a huge like.
I don't remember
TV
seeing
push.
a commercial for it. No.
Yeah, because it was like fans know basically like the fans will show up and the fans already existed. In fact, they knew the fans already existed because some of the people they brought in for this movie were huge fans, and that's why they wanted to do it.
Well, like whom?
Like, for instance, Bridget Fonda,
Fucking
who comes
Bridget
in.
Fonda.
Who I think she has one line.
Max. Yeah, at the
That's
most.
it.
But she's Bruce Campbell's girlfriend.
Right. Danny Elfman contributed the March of the Dead.
That's crazy.
He's not even like the music guy. He just gave
like,
them
hey, let me do a song
right.
for this. That's nuts.
Bill Moseley.
Now that was the one that was the biggest shock to me.
Yeah.
Is because I watched the movie, never once did I go, holy shit, was that Bill Moseley?
There was.
I
though.
never knew that was
because
him.
he's completely covered in makeup.
Yeah.
He's that big of a fan that he
Yeah.
wanted to do whatever.
Yeah, it's like, you don't
Yeah.
even have to make me a main character. I don't care. Just put me in the movie.
Yeah, he actually sent a letter to Sam Raimi,
Wow.
and he was like, hey, I was Chop Top in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and I hear you're doing Evil Dead 3, and you know, and I don't care what it is. I just like to be part of the movie. And then Sam Raimi sent him a letter back and was like, oh, yeah, I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Yeah, come.
Wow.
We'll give you a role.
Fucking Otis P. Driftwood.
Yeah, so he became the captain of the Dead-Eyed Army with that eye patch and then, like, the milky eye. Again,
Yeah.
an eye patch and then an eye that obviously couldn't see.
I didn't notice that.
That was really funny.
So dumb.
Yeah.
But like, I had no idea that was him until I watched that really excellent making of documentary that's on YouTube. Actually, you can just type in "making of Army of Darkness,"
Yeah.
and you'll find it's like an hour and a half long. And they were showing Bill Moseley, and I was like, "What the fuck is he doing here?"
Yeah.
And it shows the scenes where he's in the movie, and I'm like, I had no clue because that's a guy that, you know, again, especially after seeing Otis, and well, him as Otis, I
And
mean, in the
Chop
Rob Zombie
Top,
movies, and
yeah.
Rob Zombie, yeah, it's like you think of him as this huge, over the top, chewing
Yeah.
up the scenery, larger than life
But
character.
in this case, he doesn't chew up any scenery. Like
Yeah, he's a grunt.
really he does his job, which is basically to report to the Evil Ash, and that's it.
Yeah,
And looks cool. And apparently, okay, so the milky eye, that was a contact he could not see out of. His
Oh.
only sight was the corner of where the eye patch was.
That's not
and
good.
he had to ride a horse.
that can't have gone well.
Yeah.
That can't have gone well
That was
at
a
all.
bit of an issue.
Bruce Campbell was talking about how he didn't really know how to ride a horse either.
Yeah.
He just like got super beat up riding
Right,
the horse
yeah,
and
and
stuff.
they had him wear the cape so that you couldn't see his ass jumping up off the
Slapping that
saddle.
saddle.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you what though, man. Like, Bruce is in prime
Yeah.
Hollywood butt chin
Yes.
male hero shape
Yeah.
in this.
This
dude.
is like just a year before he got his own show, which was Briscoe County Jr. Yeah. He really was like, he's in his prime.
Yeah.
He looks great. He plays 15 roles in this. Like, he plays
Yeah, really, right,
Evil
yeah.
Ash and then all the
little mini Ashes.
mini Evil Ashes. Yeah. And like every one of if you pay attention to all those little mini Ashes, they're all doing different things.
Yeah, they're all different, right?
So he acted 15 different roles
It's fucking
in
crazy.
this fucking movie.
It's amazing.
It's
And-
great.
And dude, he is just so perfectly heroic. Even though he didn't know how to ride a horse, he sure as hell looked like he knew what he was doing on that thing.
And, his heroism is like, he's that relatable hero where you watch him fuck up. Like, he can't remember Klaatu Barata Niktu.
Yeah, he's like, Barata!
Yeah, like, he fucks up, but it's like, oh yeah, that's probably how it'd be. Yeah, like, I might be able to pull out a cool one-liner every once in a while, but most of the time, I'm flying by the seat of my pants.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the evolution of the character of Ash.
Yeah.
Because, again, even when I watched the first Evil Dead, I already knew Ash, and I already knew people had this huge love of this character, and he was this just like macho badass guy.
Yeah.
You watch the first Evil Dead, he's kind of a little bitch most of the movie.
Yeah, he's just a college student, a science major that we learn. He's got chemistry books in his trunk. So, he's just a dude. It's almost entirely luck that he doesn't get demonized like all the others.
Well, the fact that he's like kind of cowardly helps him keep alive more than anything.
And then part 2 is just rehashing of that a lot. But he also is a bit more like hero.
Yeah. By the end of the movie, he definitely gets a lot more cocky and a lot more swagger, and we get groovy and we get more catch lines and stuff like this. He gets a lot more crazy macho big star, I guess, in part 2.
Because he's been through the shit.
Yeah. But in this movie... Dude, if you compare like part 1 to part 3, it's not even remotely the same
he's
character
grown
at all.
So much. He's changed so much.
Yeah,
like,
he is an ultimate hard ass.
Enough of this shit.
Yeah, dude. He doesn't give a fuck
at
all. He's super confident. He's super brave. He's super knowledgeable. How the fuck does he know how to do all this stuff? Like, it doesn't even make sense. He pulls out like a college chemistry textbook out of his
he makes gunpowder.
Yeah, and like a robot hand.
Oh,
and shit
also,
like this.
by the way, Two Towers scene where he makes the gunpowder and then Worm Tongue like has the torch and he brings it over the thing. And Saruman's like, "Go back up."
Shit,
same
that's
thing
in there
happens
too.
in this movie. Yeah.
I absolutely remember that. Yeah, because I watched Two Towers just, a couple weeks ago. That's in there.
To kind of answer how does he do that, you kind of have to look at what the main source for this idea is, and that's the Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. It's basically just the idea.
That's a Mark Twain, isn't it?
Yeah, Mark Twain. It's basically just the idea if you live in the future that you'd have so much technology and ideas you could share with the past. But like somebody asked this on Reddit the other day, and then also Heather Ann Campbell on How Did This Get Played was talking about this a little bit. If you got sent in the past, you'll know what gunpowder is. You won't know how to make it.
Right. Yeah.
Even if you had a chemistry book, it doesn't give you a recipe for gunpowder. It'll tell you that it's saltpeter and whatever else it is, but it doesn't have a recipe. You like if you got sent into the past, like Mark Twain's ideal was basically the person being sent into the past would know these things. But I don't know how to make an iPhone.
Right.
I don't even know how electricity works.
No.
And somebody just laughed. How does it work?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Say out loud in words how electricity works.
Build me an electrical grid.
Now admit you don't know how electricity works either. Because it fucking is magic, as far as I know. And if I got thrown into the past like this, I'd have no idea what to do.
Yeah, I'd tell them about stuff I'd seen, but I wouldn't know how to do it.
Yeah, so like the premise of it is basically just, okay, what have you got sent in the past? And also, you knew how to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just kind of have to buy it. Like a lot of this, you just have to buy it. And
but his charisma is so high,
it's so easy to buy.
Yeah, dude. It's like, it makes no sense whatsoever that this character that we saw in Evil Dead 1, who was like whimpering and hiding and running away and stuff like this, is now suddenly in the Middle Ages, like calling all the shots.
Yeah.
Being a complete fucking badass. It doesn't make sense, but also, I don't care.
I mean, the one way it does make sense is that he has a gun. And, like, honestly, if you had a gun in a time where they didn't have guns, it'd be pretty easy.
That's a godlike power.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy to get people to do what you want. Though I would imagine you'd have to worry every time you walked out your door that somebody would shoot you with an arrow.
Yeah, exactly. And take your
that's
gun.
what I would want to do. with the guy who has the god power in his hand. Yeah.
Kill him. Yeah. In the movie, whenever it starts off, like he's already, enslaved in the Dark Ages and stuff. And one of my favorite things that this kicks off with is when he gets thrown into the pit, which for one, okay, again, this is like the 1400s or whatever, and they have this like crazy mechanical steel portal that opens to the pit. And it's like, okay, there's no way they would have that back then.
Well, I mean, it's desert England. It's a different place.
Desert England, right. But dude, whenever they throw him down into the pit and he's fighting the pit bitch, as she's called.
The pit bitch is what she's called, yeah.
And dude, she's like this crazy deadite zombie-looking creature that punches him in the face. Like, just the whole... how stupid it is that you're in a fight with a zombie that's punching you in the face. And then also doing that, like, whole gymnastic routine down there in the pit. It's so stupid.
Just saw somebody get thrown in the pit, and then a geyser of blood. So what we have to understand is the pit bitch punched a geyser of blood out of somebody.
Punched him apart, I guess. Yeah, we see that, and then he gets thrown in, and it's fisticuffs.
It's hilarious.
It's so fucking dumb. I love it, man.
Yeah. I mean, again, we talked about this in maybe even in Evil Dead 1, but one of Sam Raimi's biggest influences is the Three Stooges. Like, and
it's
you'll
all
see
over
it
this movie.
so much in this movie.
Dude, that scene with like the skeleton hands, where he's like fending them all off, and he puts up like the hand in the middle of the nose to keep the eye gouges. It's just so overtly over the top, wearing its influences on its shoulder and just going with it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, because like
again, Bruce sells it, dude.
Yeah, because Bruce can sell. I think that's what you like always have to recognize with Sam Raimi's directing is that he realized Bruce was something special.
Yeah.
So like. He knew he could say whatever to Bruce and Bruce would do it because Bruce trusted him because they had made good shit together up to that point. They were friends.
They have the same vision for sure.
So if you can make him do whatever, and he's that talented that when you tell him to do something, he just does it.
Yeah.
Like...
And you know it's going to turn out good.
You want to put him on screen as much as you can, right? Like, just put him out there and have him do every goofy thing you've ever thought of. And that's this movie.
He is a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Like, this is, at so many points, man, I think in my notes I wrote down that this is live-action Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it is.
Which is so funny when you think about this trilogy of movies and how they work together, because it's almost like a perfect spectrum of horror and comedy. Yeah. Whereas like part one, they were really just trying to make a horror movie. Of course, some of it turned out kind of unintentionally very funny.
Right, but it was just a horror movie.
Yeah. Part two is
comedy.
Like, okay.
Full comedy.
Well, part two to me is like comedy, but there's still like some brutality,
there's still
gore,
good horror
elements in there. And then part three is just comedy.
Yeah, there's nothing more to it. It's an adventure film.
Yeah.
It goes out of the horror genre entirely.
I wouldn't say it's really all that horrific, honestly. It's not even really that gory, honestly.
I mean, if you were to call this movie horror, honestly, you'd have to call Conan the Barbarian horror.
Right.
Like,
yeah, because it's like, it's set in the past and there's monsters and stuff.
Yeah.
That's not really horror.
No.
Exactly. I mean, if you're wanting to watch a scary movie...
This isn't it.
This is not it. That's not what you're supposed to do.
But if you want to watch an awesome movie... Go for
this. That's the thing. This isn't a horror movie. It's a fucking awesome movie, you know? Yeah. This whole trilogy just kind of sits as a spectrum of comedy to horror, where it's like, if you want to watch just a purely fun, funny movie, it's this one. If you want to watch something that is more old school and scary and classic horror, watch the first one. If you want to watch something in between, watch part two. Yeah. It's all right there in this trilogy of movies.
Yeah. I think that... This actually helps me because I've been struggling lately, especially with some of the movies we've been doing. We've talked about like the idea of like the dark thriller that's like this bordering so much on horror that it could be mistaken for horror. I'm starting to see that like the borders of horror don't exist.
No,
there's not really a border. It's like horror is a thing. It's almost like pornography. I know it when I see it.
I know it when you see it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I know it when I see it. When I see horror, when I watch, say, Seven, it's a horror movie. You can tell me it doesn't fit all the genre tropes, so...
It's horrific.
A man was made to eat parts of the refrigerator. Like, a woman was raped to death with a knife dick. Like
that sounds like horror to me.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
So, like, the border, like, this is a horror movie. Like, it's a horror movie because the two that preceded it were horror movies. But it has none of the tropes of a horror movie.
Not really. But it's one of those movies that's, like, for horror fans.
Yes.
You know?
So, like, I don't know. Like, it just seems like the borders of horror are so nebulous and impossible to describe. There's no reason even to try to nail down the genre. Like, the main reason is to make meta horror, right? Which then has its own rules.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, like, it's just... But, I mean, I've talked about this before where... Okay, so I don't want to get too highfalutin over here.
Oh, look out. Just swing that college degree around or something.
Yeah, a little bit. Just to talk a little bit about Jacques Derrida.
Oh, look out, Hickory Dock, whatever you are.
No, I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to say plainly that basically when you talk about defining words, you talk about defining anything, the way that we define things is by tearing away all the things that it's not.
Okay, yeah,
So it's not this, it's not that, it's not this, it's not that. We get to a point where we can finally put a point on it and say, it's none of those things. This is exactly what it is.
It's the negative space that defines it.
That is the definition, but the negative space is basically what defines it. When we talk about a monster, we talk about a thing that is indefinable. It usually exists between two things. So you have
zombies, living and dead.
Yeah, you're living and dead, or you're a swamp creature. Like you are humanoid, but you are also lizard. Like that. What is this? Like a wolf, man. Like you're two things,
animal and man,
simultaneously.
Yeah.
Which breaks down the definition of both of those things.
You're David Bowie.
Yeah. So now when you could say before, man is not wolf, wolf is not man. Now wolf
what
man.
Now
all you can say about that is, well, that's neither wolf nor man.
It's a monster.
It's a monster. So I think it's interesting that the more we've got into horror, the more I've started to see that the genre itself is indefinable and therefore monstrous. Like, horror as a genre is scary to think about.
Yeah, because how do you define it exactly?
How do you define
What's
it
the
exactly?
negative space around what is horrific or not?
Yeah, because even when you can start to be like, well, these particular types of horror movies are this way. Right, but then there are the horror movies that aren't that way. Mm-hmm. But then share all the other traits of that type of horror.
Because like you said, if your definition is, well, it's where there's like monsters killing people. It's like, well, so is Greek mythology horror?
Right. Is Greek mythology horror? Is Arthurian tales, are they horror?
Yeah, St. George and the Dragon, that's a horror tale.
Is Grendel a horror tale?
Yeah, there's plenty of examples of things that don't really fit into that if that is your definition.
So, like... I think that's real interesting that the more we get into horror, the more I realize, like, horror itself is monstrous. Like, there's so many levels to the fear that even in defining the genre, you can't do it correctly or accurately without somebody being able to say, what about this movie? And then you're like, fuck, my entire definition falls apart.
Right, yeah, it's this, but, well, not this time.
Right.
That's a good way to look at it, man. Now, what do you think about Sam Raimi's direction on this flick?
It's amazing.
It's fucking awesome.
You can tell he had a blast. Thing, just like we've talked about in the past, some directors that are just obsessive storyboarders. Peter Jackson. Every single shot was storyboarded. Like,
golly, man.
And he actually took some storyboards from the 1930s Joan of Arc by Victor Fleming.
What?
He took like 26 storyboard shots. Because like the thing he was going for was the particular scenes where they raid a castle.
Okay.
Joan of Arc is notorious for saying that she was the first to put a ladder on a castle. Like, she would run up to the walls, put the ladder, go up the walls, and attack first. Like, she was a badass teenager. But he wanted to sort of replicate those things. Those shots that he replicated then end up in Two Towers.
What the hell?
So you get the shots where they're putting the ladders up and everything. Like,
so that the pedigree of that shot goes all the way back to fucking Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Fucking cool, dude. Yeah.
There's so many things in this, too, that if you're a fan of parts 1 and 2, you'll see so many shots in this that are like, oh my God, that's just like what I saw Like when the demons are chasing Bruce through the woods in the other two movies,
right?
You know, and it's so cool because those tracking demon vision shots are.
I love it. He like falls down the hill. And it's so fucking good.
And those started as a guy with basically a homemade Steadicam of just like a camera on a 2x4 that was tied around his neck.
Yeah,
chasing Bruce Campbell through the woods, and now it's all the way here in this larger budget medieval Bruce Campbell action comedy horror movie. Yeah.
I think we miss that so much in like the beautiful things that we see. Like when somebody goes, okay, so like I watch, say, Justice League, and I can tell you it's like better than I thought it was going to be, but it's a terrible fucking movie. But if you showed me Justice League in 1982, my mind would have been blown.
Yeah. Oh my god, it looks like a comic book.
There's so many developments in making movies constantly, because making movies is a constant set of problems you have to overcome. Like, nobody's ever done this. How are we going to do it? Like, how do you do this? I want a scene where somebody's running through the woods and the camera's right behind them, right up on them, and it looks like the thing behind them is running with them. How do I do that? Board around the neck. Turns into eventually like fucking
Stanley Kubrick Steadicam.
Yeah, like you get more Steadicam work. You get more, like, everybody's trying to duplicate other things and create new versions of that, and they're always coming up with new technology. Like, I mean, you know, what's his name? Avatar dude, James Cameron. I mean, that guy. Every movie he makes is just an excuse to come up with new technology.
Yeah, it's an excuse to solve problems.
Yeah, that's all it is. And mostly it's so he can use that technology to do what he actually wants to do.
Yeah, which is not making a movie.
Not making a movie, yeah. So, like, there's something so awesome about movie making that we miss by just looking at it and judging it on its own. Like, you really need to understand the work and problem solving and ideas that went into a thing to judge it. But I mean, again, when I watched Justice League, I was like, this is shit. I mean, better than I thought it was gonna be. Pretty shit. Like, how do you spend that much money?
Oh my god, dude.
How do you spend that? Like, that's like, I think maybe the money's the problem sometimes, because then the problem solving is throw more money at it. Like, that's not a solution, but it works. Like, okay, throw more money at it. We'll hire some outside firm that'll deal with it. They don't really put creativity into it. They're just getting a job done because they're getting paid by this production company. Like, yeah. Instead of, you know, what we get here, which were, you know, you have K&B working on this, like Howard Berger's back there. You got what's his name? The dude from The Walking Dead. Fuck.
Oh, damn it, Savini student.
Yeah. God damn it,
Greg Nicotero.
There you go. We're bad at names.
You got
some of these some of the best fucking special effects guys in the world working on your movie, but throwing more money at it won't fix the situation.
Throwing more talent at it will.
Throwing more talent will.
Yeah.
Like you tell K&B, like, we need, because they did so, like, if you look at all the Deadites, they look like, yeah, if you did it in a computer, it would just be a repetition of the same skeleton.
Yeah,
but these are all individual skeletons.
Yeah, they had like 175, yes. I think, Deadites that they made.
And then the people that are in costume, of course, like, you know, Bill Moseley and Bruce Campbell and
Ted Raimi,
who's all over them. He plays 4 different roles in this movie. But like, you have these people who, one, have very limited time each day to get everything done, and 2, they're being asked to do things that nobody's ever done, and they just have to figure out a solution and also have a deadline. And that deadline is like, okay, at 7:00, this is the thing you get. And they send it out, and it looks as fucking awesome as it does. Like, you could throw $1 million more, $20 million more at this movie and not improve it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the shot that we get of, like, Henry riding his horse and chopping skeletons in half.
Yes.
It wouldn't have looked better if it had more money. It was actually just a guy sitting on a sawhorse that was being rocked around by 2 other guys, probably just crushing his fucking balls.
On the side of the interstate.
Because
Sam Raimi realized they had forgotten to get that shot.
Could you imagine?
Pull over pull out a sawhorse, get in your costume, boom.
Got it.
Got it. For a movie that's going to be shown worldwide.
Yeah, and again, that's like Robert Rodriguez shit.
Yeah.
You know? But also, too, can you imagine you're a truck driver in 1991 when this is being filmed? You're all hopped up on trucker speed and stuff.
You got that fin running through your system.
You're going through the fucking desert in California, and you're like, I think I just seen a feller riding a sawhorse, chopping skeletons in half in medieval garb.
Feller, that ain't a real horse.
Then you go,
that's for sawing.
I need to pull over and get some sleep.
He probably did, so it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. It might have saved a lot of lives.
You could have killed Tracy Morgan's friend, you asshole.
Yeah, really.
Damn, I just hurt some truckers' feelings.
Oh, no. Aw.
Sorry. I love you, truckers.
Aww.
Keep listening to our show.
Keep America moving.
Good buddy. Did that help? Did I do it? No. Breaker. 1-9.
But yeah, man, the amount of just like low budget, dumb solutions that came up with for stuff in this movie is amazing. And it's like you said, when you watch it knowing everything is real. Like if they made Game of Thrones in the 90s, early 90s, it would have looked like this.
This is what it would have been, yeah.
You know, the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, this is what Game of Thrones would have been if it would have come out in 1993.
Yeah. Which wouldn't have been an improvement for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's goofy. And that's why it works.
That's why it works.
Because this is a comedy. It's a horror comedy.
But at the same time, I mean, dude, some of those sets and costumes and stuff look legit.
Evil Ash looks fucking
Ash looks awesome. Dude,
he's got no lips. He got that like
teeth sticking out and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just talk a little bit about the special effects and everything, because you know you've got so many different kinds of special effects throughout this movie.
And they had two different companies. I can't remember the name of the other company, but it's a big company. They did about 30% of the effects, and K&B did about the other 70%. Most of the all the like real practical stuff.
But they had to do everything.
Yeah.
Dude, they had to do special effects makeups.
Yeah.
For Evil Ash and stuff.
Yeah.
They had to do full latex bodysuit stuff with like the winged demon that's in this. They had to do extensive amounts of stop motion.
Yes.
The stop motion skeletons look amazing.
They do. They're so Herringhouse, and they fucking nail.
They nail it.
Yeah.
And when you see the way that the live action characters interact with the stop motion creatures, I have no fucking clue how they did that stuff. It also looks infinitely better than, let's say, like Skeleton Freddy.
It was choreography where they had shot the front projection stuff, and then they would be like, okay, so Bruce, you're gonna need your sword up here, then down here, then down here at these very specific moments, so that when we front project it, it looks like you're blocking the skeleton's sword.
Yeah.
So Bruce Campbell would have to learn this like deep choreography.
Jeez, man.
And like he nails it every fucking time. If I watched I watched through it after watching the documentary, which is called Medieval Times, by the way. If you're
definitely
watch
it.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's good. Came out in 2015, so it's interesting. It's got like a lot of insight, but like Bruce Campbell had to learn so much choreography and stuff for each one of these. And after hearing that in the interview, I then watched it again and then watched it, and he fucking nails it. Like none of his hits look off.
No, they don't.
All look exactly like where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying, it's like compare that to the scenes in Dream Warriors where they're fighting Skeleton Freddy, and it's like,
yeah, that looks bad.
Pretty rough, man.
Yeah.
They nailed all this stuff, and they also nailed all of the miniatures, matte paintings, everything. They were talking about how like that windmill set was just a miniature.
Yeah.
But that's Bruce Campbell way in the background, the miniature way in the foreground.
Yes.
And
they
you
have
never
him
even
run
think
to it, and it looks like he's running into a windmill.
Dude. Yeah. Like it doesn't look fake at all. And then when you get into all the crazy, silly, like Gulliver's Travels, all the little mini Ashes, dude. Like I said, even though I felt like
My fair lady,
even though I felt like I knew this movie before I watched it, I didn't know about little mini Ashes. I didn't know about two-headed Ash. I mean, dude, the amount of work that had to go into
chin
that.
Ash, dude.
All that
That's
stuff,
awesome.
dude. Man, when his like face gets all stretched out and he has to like shake it out, and then it
Looney
shakes
Tunes
into a different shape.
Fuck. That
amazing.
Is so Looney Tunes.
But it looks great.
Yes.
That's the thing about it. Like, it never really looks like, oh, you can see where the appliance starts. They really did a fantastic fucking job. And like I said, the demons, the deadites, the skeletons, like not just the stop action skeletons, stop motion skeletons. Even the guys that are in like skeleton suits, kind of like the whites from Game of Thrones. look fucking great.
They do. And it really is just some bones taped to black clothing. Like, it's nothing fancy.
It's nothing at all.
I think that, I don't know, like, CGI can be great. It really can. I mean, I love the Marvel movies.
Yeah, I was going to say, that you don't
full of CGI.
get the Marvel movies without that shit.
CGI can be great. But the Marvel movies are cashing in on some checks they wrote to me in the early 90s when I started reading comic books.
Sure.
Like it would be real hard for them to be bad. Like, I want to see them so bad that I'm glad they made them no matter what.
I'm already invested from the get-go,
Yeah. In the case of an original IP like this, I think you're always going to be best served by being a little shoestring budget. Like to always just having to strain a little to figure out this thing. Like, how are we going to do this? Oh, well, yeah, we could just shoot it this way and send it for $1 million to get this great CG.
Yeah, green screen it and do CG in the background.
Or could we pull out a sawhorse? Like,
yeah.
I mean, like,
maybe jostle this guy around a little bit.
Like, if you have to be forced into that corner, you're going to come up with something, and a lot of times it's going to look so much better. Yeah. It's just going to look better, even though you know in your mind, like, when you're watching it, you're like, we're on the side of the interstate. When everyone else is watching it, they're like, this is medieval London.
Medieval battle.
Yeah.
In medieval London desert.
There's a train coming at me. They scream. Like, we've bought fully into movies from the beginning. We love this shit. So, like, I think it serves you best.
Yeah.
To just say, like, how can we do this for cheap as shit? Like, what's the least we could spend on this and make it still look good?
And it does.
Yeah.
This whole movie, like, if you are a fan of practical effects, this movie is a treat. It is a smorgasbord of every practical effect known to man. I mean, forced perspective stuff. Yeah. Like I said, matte paintings, all of it. It's all here. And if you watch that making of thing, you can see it all too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Watch that, because it's only like an hour. That was a real quick documentary. I was surprised. Like, they really get out a lot of good information real quick.
But, the thing about it is like, this actually does have legitimate great action bits and comedy bits in it.
Yeah, this is
it's not like good action for a horror movie or it's funny for an action movie. Like, it actually has great elements of all of it.
If you cut out every moment that references back to Evil Dead 2, you'd still have a good adventure movie.
Yeah, totally. Guy gets sent to the past, has to deal with some shit.
Yeah, you don't even need an explanation. We've all, like, accept it. Like, Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. We know that exists. So, here, go. Now tell us your version.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I picked up from the documentary that really surprised me is Bruce Campbell saying that this was the most grueling shoot that's ever happened in history, because that's coming from the guy that was in Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Which, if you know anything about, was one of the
grueling.
Most punishing film shoots in history.
Yeah.
And he said this was actually the worst.
Yeah. And I can understand why, because he acted so many roles and he's in so much makeup. And this was a 100-day shoot in Southern California on the edges of the Mojave Desert in the middle of the summer.
Real nice climate.
Every single person just wearing clothes was uncomfortable. The people wearing armor, super uncomfortable, and the people wearing makeup, extremely, because makeup doesn't breathe.
Oh, dude, if you were in that latex fucking pit bitch costume, you were probably dying. There's probably like an inch of sweat in your shoes in that costume.
It would just be, and you're already standing in water. I assume that was shot on a set, but still, in all that makeup, standing in that water, you're just sweating like crap.
But then, too, so much of the movie is set at nighttime, and at that time in the Mojave Desert, it gets cold as fuck at night.
It does suddenly get super cold. Also, it would apparently, for the night shots, take 4 hours to set up the lighting.
Good God.
Which is constantly going to be changing because of the moon, because if you're out in the middle of nowhere, the moon is bright as shit when you don't have
and it's the
like
primary
other
light
lights.
Source. Yeah.
So you're constantly adjusting for the moon. You're dealing with all this cold. People are getting... So you're dealing with lighting for 4 hours. You got people getting makeup on for 3 hours. And then they only had 6 hours to shoot while it was still dark.
That sounds awful.
And yeah, so they're just doing this day in and day out for all these night shoots. So like, I can't imagine that many actors have dealt with much worse than Bruce Campbell dealt with.
Because that's the thing is, like, if they had a huge budget, they wouldn't shoot at nighttime. They'd shoot it all in fucking Pinewood Studios or whatever, build sets.
No problem.
It looks dark inside, whatever. But this was all shot actually outdoors, actually at nighttime.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, too, is like, even though this is such a punishing, grueling shoot for everybody involved, whenever you see the behind-the-scenes stuff of Sam Raimi manning the helm and directing this thing,
he's having a blast.
Dude, he's having a blast. There's like times that he would put on like a beret and be like, "Onward, you scallywags!" Like just like classic fucking Cecil B. DeMille fucking shit.
From that documentary, gathered why Sam Raimi is considered to be such a great director by the people he works with.
He loves what he's doing.
He loves it. He acts like a child.
Yeah,
like.
He's directing bathtub action figure mission scenes in real life.
Yeah,
it's like
that's what he's doing.
Getting to do it with real people. So he cares.
The thing is, he can be an asshole because he's so childlike. Yeah. Like he can be like, I want this now. Like because everybody sees him as like so super excited about everything, and they just want to be like a part of that. They want to feel the same way he does. Like,
put helicopter blades on my car.
Yeah.
Because the classic makes an appearance in here.
With the fucking blades all over it.
Anybody that doesn't know Sam Raimi and the classic. The classic is his old school.
It's in every movie he's shot. Even in The Quick and the Dead. They took it apart and used parts of it in The Quick and the Dead.
No way.
Yeah, it's in every movie he's ever made.
Dude.
It's crazy.
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, so he just has this childlike exuberance and joy in what he does that has to be infectious to work with.
He has to. And like Bruce Campbell, he talked, as he said, this was hell. He was, he'd be cussing a lot on the set. He'd be angry and whatnot. Never angry at anyone in particular. That's just how he works. Like he sees how irritating this all is. He's like dealing with this irritation and this constant like hot cold situation and all these other things, but he doesn't get mad at Sam. He just gets mad at the situation.
Yeah, he
wants the movie to work, so it doesn't matter. Like he'll do whatever, but it's fucking frustrating. So they work together so fucking well. And Sam Raimi, I know the Spider-Man movies were huge, but I don't think that any Sam Raimi movie not starring Bruce Campbell has the same feel to it. Like, not that they're bad. I love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 specifically. Spider-Man 1's good and Spider-Man 3 is shit. Quick and Dead's good. Like, all those movies are good, but they don't have the same, like, just fun feel that the 3 Evil Dead movies have. And I think it's because he's never found another actor that will act in the way Bruce Campbell will, where he can just say whatever and he does it.
Yeah. Those two guys definitely share the same vision of what these movies should have been, for sure. Now, you're telling me you have a little bit of an idea about why we have all these different Lindas through these movies.
Why we have these different Lindas and
changes.
why the beginning changes each time.
Every time, yeah.
I believe that it is possible, considering the multiple Ashes we see, and considering that Ash travels into the past, that in both cases, it is a separate Ash in the past changing the future.
No shit.
Yeah. It is an Ash.
And that's why they're all so different.
Yeah, because, what brings them back into the future is a few drops of this tincture or whatever.
Yeah, which again work because they work.
Yeah. Okay, so the Ash we see working at S-Mart is 1993 Bruce Campbell, who is 12 years older than the Bruce Campbell we saw, but should be 2 days older than the first Bruce Campbell. Well, a few days older.
Yeah.
Only 2 days passed in Evil Dead 1 and 2, and then Evil Dead 3 is maybe a week. So, why is he so much older? It's potentially because he woke up way earlier than the day he was supposed to.
Okay.
And then went back and started changing things. Now, why would there be two separate Lindas? And that is where the multiple Ashes come into play. Is he the only Ash that went into the future? Did the portal that sent him back in time only send this Ash back? Is it the only time that portal has sent him? Does the portal only send him to one place? Can the portal... I mean, it's a Lovecraftian idea.
It's a revolving door at that point.
He could have been sent to multiple places as a single individual and not know the experience because he's only experiencing the one experience. Like, multiple Ashes and multiple Lindas make this a multi-level universe that is really... I want to get deep into it when we finally do Evil Dead, the Fade Alvarez movie, because that's also in the continuity because we see Bruce Campbell at the end.
Okay, the Evil Dead remake,
it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, there's this multiverse within the Evil Dead.
That's fun when you think of it that way.
It is fun because
yeah.
I think they've done some stuff with it in the comic books, kind of, because there are actually a lot of Evil Dead comic books.
I'd like to check them out.
Yeah, I've read one, and it was real fun. And there's like Ash versus Freddy versus Jason, like, and also Jason Voorhees' comic book universe is pretty deep too.
Well,
so
I was gonna say, if I'm not mistaken, I believe a couple years ago they were trying to like spin and retcon that the whole reason that Jason can come back again and again and again is that he's actually a Deadite.
Yeah,
I believe they were trying to like make that canon.
Yeah.
Which, dude, if they ever got to do an Ash versus Jason movie,
love it.
Fucking count
and it's
me
perfect
in.
time now because Ash versus Evil Dead is ended, but we've developed the characters like Old Man Ash, where it's like we've seen him where he's basically the premise of Ash versus Evil Dead is it's been a while. He's just been working at S-Mart, despite the fact that he saved the world. Nobody knows it. Like, he's just working at S-Mart, living in a trailer. Like, it's a perfect idea to pick up on Ash and Jason Voorhees in 2020 and just smash them together.
Yeah, dude.
Just fucking
get your chocolate in my peanut butter.
And I goddamn guarantee you Robert Englund would be on board ringing Freddy.
Dude, come on.
Like, right now, it doesn't Michael Bay own... Doesn't he own the rights to Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street?
So, yeah.
I mean, I don't care for Michael Bay, but if he could put that together, I'd like Michael Bay more.
Yeah, I would be completely on deck with that.
I'd be like, you know what, Bad Boys those movies are good. They are. Actually, I'll say that anyway. They are a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, the pacing of this movie is one of my favorite things too. It's not overly long.
Nope.
It doesn't overstay its welcome. Like,
it's like an hour and a half movie.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty short. You can't keep that zany pace up for 2.5 hours.
You just
don't
gotta
want
go
that.
comedy length, and like you get your kind of serious-ish moments, which are mostly just him trying to have sex with Beth Davids, who's great. She's awesome.
I love how he's super annoyed by her, and then just suddenly is like, hey.
Yeah, he grabs her and kisses her.
Yeah, he's like suddenly sensual out of nowhere.
He's very much that like 1940s, 50s leading man sort of thing where you just grab a woman and kiss her hard and that suddenly everything's cool.
And the thing is like in other movies with other people playing that character, you just be like, oh, this is fucking dumb.
Yeah.
This is so stupid.
But because it's him, like it's almost like Bruce Campbell, when he says something, there's an irony to it already.
Right.
Like, just looking at his face, because he's got that cartoon face, you're like, that's funny. You just told me my mom died. Like,
yeah, you're doing it because it's funny, because you're saying it.
Yeah.
Totally, man. Yeah, dude, this movie is just a fucking treat. Like, I never once got bored, even for a second. I never was like, man, this is fucking stupid. They're playing up the comedy way too much. It all just seems like an organic growth of where they were going in part two. Yeah. To me, you know?
Yeah, I love the silliness. I don't Like, there's nothing I would change about this movie.
No.
In fact, even the flaws I wouldn't change, because the flaws, like the Harryhausen look, like that is intentional. I think. I don't think that there's any reason why you would want to improve this movie. It has every single thing you would want in a horror comedy, and doesn't go because so many horror comedies are meta.
Yeah.
And this is in no way meta. In fact, just abandons the entire pretense of horror just for comedic effect.
Yeah.
It doesn't even care.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that about it.
I do too, man. Yeah, it's just a ball to watch. Like I said, I did not expect to like this movie as much as I did.
Yeah.
I think about the only improvements I would make. I wouldn't mind if it was gorier.
Oh yeah, it was before they really it was NC-17 was
Really?
what they were gonna rate it, and then they edited it down to the
I want to see that cut.
87-minute cut, which then got edited more by Dino De Laurentiis. I mean, he didn't do it himself, but he hired another editor to do it. Got it down to 81 minutes so that's actually an hour and 20.
Yeah.
So got it down to 81 minutes, but it was gorier before. They still ended up with an R rating because of the fucks.
Yeah, just because of language.
But there's not much
There's not
gore
really much
at all.
gore. I mean, some of the best parts of Evil Dead 2 are when
just the ridiculous gore parts.
it's just ridiculously over the top. I mean, just Ash getting sprayed with every body
a bunch
fluid
of blood
imaginable.
does spray up out of that pit, but that's about it.
Yeah, but it doesn't cover him in blood,
red.
you know?
Yeah, it's like bright red too. It's not even it doesn't look realistic. It doesn't get on anybody really. Yeah.
I would have been okay if this did play with just the over-the-top grossness that they had in Evil Dead 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah,
That's honestly
cool
about the only thing about this that I would tweak. I would just like to see a little bit more juice on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good.
But still, this is one of those movies that I know that I'll watch again and again. You know?
I have. Throughout my life, this has been one that I was so psyched for as a kid. I was 12 years old when this came out. Well, not yet 12, but around there. I was reading comics. It was constantly being advertised. I loved Evil Dead 1 and 2 when it came out. I mean, didn't get to go see it in theaters, but when it came out on video, watched it immediately. I've watched it a trillion times as a child, as an adult. Every single time, still fun.
Yeah.
Still blows my mind every time how silly it is while still telling a really competent adventure story.
True.
It never really gets off of the path of adventure. Even with the horror elements, it's very much an adventure story. And Bruce Campbell just nails everything.
Yeah.
He's so good.
You got any final thoughts and ratings about this movie?
I would say, for sure, way to go Sam Raimi and his brother, Ivan Raimi, who wrote this. Ivan Raimi is a medical doctor.
No shit.
Yes, he is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he helped write Darkman and then helped write this and has helped write some other things.
And maybe help save some lives.
Sam Raimi says he really understands character. Really good at character.
Huh. So he's got some thanks that are owed to him.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think that this movie goes more into the character than the previous two did, where we were just shown Ash. In this case, you go into depth, who is Ash as a lover? Who is he as this? Because before, all we saw was he had a necklace and gosh, he loves his girlfriend or whatever. So yeah, we go more in depth on that character. In fact, we get more from all the characters. Henry and Arthur. Are very realized characters. You get what's going on with them, but there's never really the exposition fully.
Yeah.
They say they're at war, but we don't know everything that's happened.
It doesn't really clarify. Yeah. You just know that they're at odds with each other.
Yeah, so those characters have depth to them. So well written. Then, of course, Sam Raimi changes everything on set, does everything, just, I want to do this today. So, because he did that, and then what we see on the screen is so awesome, I'll say, fucking great job, Sam Raimi.
No doubt.
Saying we're going to do this today. Because he knew what he was talking about. I don't think I'd improve anything, honestly. Because anything I think I have so much connection to it, that when I think of anything changing, it kind of scrambles my brain a little bit.
Yeah,
where it's like, no,
had it so
no, that
long.
can't change. Yeah, like if that changes, then it's not the same thing. I think if I take it objectively, maybe. No, the choice to go with the Harryhausen look is a bold one, and if you don't know Harryhausen, you would just say, "Oh, this is just a bad-looking movie." So maybe that's not the smartest choice, but I think when you're dealing with
I don't even think it looks bad though.
That's what I'm saying.
Man.
Yeah,
the stop motion is, I think, beyond the Harryhausen.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think it looks great, and I also think by the time you're on the third movie of a cult franchise, like
you're on board with whatever.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, and because like it's set in medieval times. Like you've already gone that far. Do whatever the fuck you want. So I can't complain about. I can't really say there's anything I would change. For me, there's always gonna be a 10. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Somebody could point out one huge flaw that changes the entire movie. I'd still be like 10.
Don't care.
It's a 10.
Exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just so effortlessly enjoyable to me. I mean, I understand, like I said, if you're really in the mood to watch a scary movie about people going out into a cabin in the woods and stuff like that, it's not that. No. This movie isn't scary, really, at all. You know?
No, this is a kids movie. Like, kids should, like, this, I think, Bruce Campbell said this in that documentary that this movie should have been rated PG, and it really should.
It really could have.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the language, it probably could have easily gotten PG-13. You know,
because it's just so like even the violence is comical. It's so it's like a Looney Tunes thing. Yeah,
totally, man. Yeah, I mean, dude, he gets his fucking face burnt on top of that stove and has to peel it off with a spatula. Like that's totally fucking Bugs Bunny moves. You know?
And he doesn't even have a burn on his face.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I love how they just embraced. Yeah. You know, it's like everything that they laughed at when they were like 8 years old. Yeah. Like, we should put that in this movie. It's still funny.
Because this was nobody's break. This was nobody's, like nobody on set was like, this is like gonna change cinema. This was for the fans. This was for Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, really. It was like, hey, let's just celebrate. Remember how fun it was making those two movies? Let's get enough money that we can make another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have minded if there was some more comically over-the-top gore. The Blood Geyser was like hilarious and awesome. Yeah. I wouldn't have minded if there was more of that in there, you know?
Hey, that must have been like Johnny Depp's character in Nightmare on Elm Street's like ancestor.
Yeah.
Where it was just full of all the blood.
Bag. Just total blood bag. And I also think that the original title of Medieval Dead was better.
Awesome. Medieval Dead is better than Army of Darkness.
I would have really liked if they would have called it Medieval Dead. But dude, the thing is I'm kind of viewing this a little bit more objectively because I didn't grow up with it. Like, I didn't see this when I was a kid. You don't have the connection.
You could tell me right now you think it's a 7. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Go for it.
But dude, to me, it's like, even though I don't have that sentimental bond of seeing this as a kid and seeing it when it came out, and it was this movie that I'd seen advertised in all my comic books, so I was already excited about it, and I'd already seen the other ones when I was a child or whatever. This is still like a fucking, I think like a 9.5.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's just so fun to watch,
Glad you loved it, man. I thought you would.
I get when people don't. I know that there's some people that just
it's
like,
wacky.
It's just so stupid.
It's way off the wall.
It's so stupid at times, man. I get it. That kind of humor is not for everybody.
No, but it's for this guy.
Yeah, I'm on board with it,
Get silly as you want. I like it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is a blast. I was really pleasantly surprised by this, and it really might be my favorite of the 3 movies.
I think a lot of people would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's not even too much of a controversial call, because it's just so beloved. Like, all 3 of them are beloved films, but I think people really connected to this movie because of its full embrace of the silly.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I love it. It's fantastic. Hopefully you guys also enjoy this, and let us know over on the Facebook page what you guys think about this flick. Where can they find that Facebook page?
Over at facebook.com/deadandlovely.
That's where you can find it. And if you guys have enjoyed this episode and want to help support the show, be sure to support us over on the Patreon page.
Patreon.com/deadandlovely.
And if you like Instagram and want to find pictures of stuff that we're doing, you can follow it at
deadlovelypod. on Instagram and Twitter.
And if you want to order some merchandise for us, like a cool t-shirt or something, you can email us.
deadandlovelypod@gmail.com.
Wow, that actually went really well.
It did.
Sounded like we kind of planned it out.
But we didn't.
Totally didn't.
No.
Free balling right there, man. Well, you guys be sure to tune in next week onto the show when we're going to be talking about
Feast, a movie I've never heard of, but was suggested by Jason.
Patreon supporter Jason. As some of you guys know, we do a Patreon page where if you support us on the $5 level, you get to submit a movie you would like us to cover on the show, and that is randomly drawn. We've been usually doing one about once a month.
Yeah.
Probably more like every 3 weeks or so, something like that, because the submissions are so good.
Yeah, we also, like, other than just doing the random drawings, we've picked, like, we did, Frailty was one that was suggested by Maddie Jones.
Yeah.
So, like, stuff we've done in the, like, if you become a $5 patron, your suggestions float to the top, basically. Is like, what are we going to do? Oh, there's a movie. Boom.
That's what people want to hear.
Yeah.
So you guys be sure to go over and check out that Patreon page and drop some support, even if, it's just on the $1 or $3 level, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll take it all. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we do a lot of work for this. I'll tell you what, I watched so much shit to get prepared for this. $5 helps.
Yeah.
It does.
Definitely.
It buys a beer.
These co-beers don't buy themselves.
It's true, they do not. I wish they did.
That'd be great.
What would they do with themselves,
Hi,
though?
I'm a beer I bought myself for you.
Yay! Put me in you. Whee!
Get in your face. Well, you guys be sure to tune in next week. I look forward to watching this movie because it sounds intriguing. I also have never
Henry
even
Rollins
heard of it.
is in it. It's produced by, who was it? Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and Wes Craven.
What
a weird combo, yeah.
Yeah, so that's an unholy trinity I want to get myself in the middle of. So we're going to find out about that thing soon. Again, I don't even know what it's about. So
yeah, interesting.
Should be an interesting one. It's cool for us to do a show where neither of us know what we're getting into.
Yeah, this is just like, it's walking into a door that's marked fun.
Ooh, fun door.
Yeah, because I'm assuming Jason is like, this is maybe that might be a wrong assumption. People might be recommending movies because they're like, shit on it.
Yeah, it could be that. People love those shit on it episodes.
Yeah, so Jason, maybe we'll shit on it for you.
Could be. I don't know. We'll find out next week. You guys be sure to tune in and check it out then. Well, in the meantime, I hope you guys are having a delightful 2020. So far, so good over on our end. If you're at the NAMM show out in LA, be sure to come up and give me an elbow tap. Holla. Not a handshake. Everybody spreads diseases and stuff when they shake hands all the time.
Get that Namthrax.
Dude, it's real. Namthrax is very fucking real.
Yeah.
Give me an elbow tap. Give me a Japanese-style bow.
Ooh.
A respectful nod. I'll give one back to you. Whatever you want to do. Come see me if you're out there in LA. We're also playing a big-ass show on Wednesday. Look for details on that on my Instagram page and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Got all kinds of good things. Doing a little performance at the Sir booth with my man Andy Wood.
Yeah?
Yeah, doing all kinds of fun stuff.
That's awesome.
You guys be sure to follow up and, again, come give me an elbow tap or something like that.
Tap.
Well, you guys have been fantastic. We have been Dead and Lovely, and we'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Hail to the king. So whenever the inevitable happens, and the pornography industry makes their smutty adaptation of cats, it's just going to be called pussies, right?
Oh. I was thinking cunts. But yeah, pussies is
That's
probably...
lewd.
That is lewd. I'm sorry.